It is, and welcome to the program. My name is Mike Megwe, and today on Health Tuesday, we'll be dealing with bipolar disorder. Dealing with bipolar disorder, that is the topic for today. And in studio, I will be joined by one Donald Okumu, who is a psychologist, and Samuel Ochieng, who is an advocate of the High Court and founder of Serene Minds Organization and Bipolar 1 survivor. Remember, you can be part of this conversation that will be happening right here on Good Morning Kenya. Our phone lines will be open and you will be able to send in your text and questions regarding this topic. So I invite you to tune in to this conversation. I don't know if Victor's mic is on.
Panya imetoka? Mato? Panya is okay?
Panya. All right, Marie, take it away.
Today. Yes. So, yeah, Victor, can we have you?
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So welcome to the program. Let me just say, karibu sana. So,
okay, Victor, okay. Let me take it through. Utakuja baadaye. Leo hiyo panya imekuvamia kwa by all means, you know. So thank you so much from wherever you're joining us. This is Good Morning Kenya. My name is Marie Yambo, and I'll bring you up to speed with what is happening in as far as the news is concerned. Where Juja Member of Parliament, George Koimburi, is in hospital after he was found, abandoned in a coffee plantation. As authorities piece together what happened, Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya urges residents to unite and vote as a bloc come 2027, and Raila Odinga Stadium in Homa Bay officially opened in time to host the 2025 Madaraka Day celebrations. And of course, I'll also be bringing you up to speed with what the Senate is giving to Turkana County and Landmark Holdings Limited 30 days to sort out a stalled deal that's been holding up a handover of a multi-million shillings office complex. All that coming up in the news, including business and sports. So we want to begin with that particular news where Juja Member of Parliament, George Koimburi, is receiving treatment at the Karen Hospital in Nairobi. Koimburi was found dumped at a coffee plantation by border operators in Kiambu County after he was allegedly taken by police on Sunday. However, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations has denied any involvement in the abduction.
A day after he was forcefully taken by persons believed to be police officers after attending a church service in Ruiru, Kiambu County, Juja lawmaker George Koimburi was found abandoned at Jacaranda Coffee Plantation. The lawmaker, who appeared injured, lying on the ground, is said to have been noticed by border operators passing nearby. He was taken to a hospital in Ruiru before he was transferred to Karen Hospital for specialized treatment.
Early this morning, he was found in a coffee plantation in Kebichoi, that is in the Githongori constituency, badly beaten and in very serious condition. He was taken to a hospital for first aid and later brought here where he was admitted. And I've just seen him and I've talked to the doctors, and they have confirmed that he has serious soft tissue injuries.
After a briefing by doctors, leaders led by former deputy president told the media that the Juja MP could not speak.
He has lost his voice, and the doctors are working round the clock to restore his vocal cords. And the Honorable Koimburi has been able to communicate through writing because he is not able to speak.
The National Police Service has, however, denied any involvement in the abduction, but confirmed that they had sought Koimburi since Friday in connection with alleged land fraud and misuse of national government constituency development funds. The opposition leaders have threatened to sue the Inspector General of Police and the National Police Service over the matter.
First of all, there is a court order against his arrest, and we'll be pursuing that in court. We want to sue the head of police, the head of DCI, the Attorney General, the Minister of Interior, which is supposed to be taking care of security of Kenyans.
Let's look at the finance bill, where stakeholders in the pest control sector are pleading with the government to exempt repellents used in the fight against malaria from value-added tax. SC Johnson Company, which appeared before the National Assembly Finance Committee for the Finance Bill 2025 public hearings, said this would lower the cost of products to boost the fight against malaria. The Kenya Association of Air Operators, however, had a difficult time defending tax exemptions amid the poor performance of the aviation industry.
Sector players say the exemption from tax of raw materials used in the manufacture of special mosquito repellents will ensure their affordability for Kenyans in malaria endemic regions.
Over the last 11 years, we have been on a mission to produce at scale special repellents in the fight against malaria, which is what is bringing us here to bring our submission to get some exemptions related to that project.
You must have seen, if you come from the malaria endemic regions of the Western Kenya, Rift Valley and probably Nyanza, you must have seen it being tested there at no cost at all to the Kenyan citizens or those who deserve it the most.
They say the repellents are not listed as zero-rated products, subjecting them to 16% VAT.
I am aware that there is mosquitoes that become repellent resistant. We have invested very heavily on entomological research, have not stopped that research. So if anything is going to be evolving from an entomology perspective, then we will be at the forefront of being able to be ahead of it as well.
Another exemption that we are requesting for is on IDF and RDL. We all know the inputs that go towards manufacturing of these partial repellents are very specialized, and most of them are not readily available within the local markets.
This comes as the Kenya Association of Air Operators was hard-pressed to explain what growth the aviation industry has gained from tax incentives given by the government.
You find like Air Tanzania or Uganda, they are improving. They are getting new aircrafts. Whereas in Kenya, we are still going down. Yet you have been given some benefits.
KQ is only one operator out of 78 air operator licenses that exist in the country. And so sometimes we get lost in the fact that KQ KQ equals aviation in Kenya. KQ is not equals to aviation in Kenya. There are a lot of operators. In fact, there are more than 5 national carriers, I believe. And maybe one of the proxies to growth of the sector in the period is what my CEO mentioned, is over the last year and a half, we've had more than 30 new aircraft on the AOC register at KCAA because of the certainty that was demonstrated by the tax policy.
The Finance Bill 2025 seeks to reintroduce VAT, import declaration fees and railway development levy on aircraft parts and maintenance services, measures that would fundamentally alter the cost structure of aviation in Kenya. The public hearings continue.
Kamcha Menza reporting there. Now, Senate's Devolution Committee has given the county government of Turkana and Landmark Holding Limited 30 days to resolve a contractual stalemate that has delayed the occupation of county headquarters, whose construction has taken 11 years. Appearing before the senators, the main contractor decried delays by the Turkana county government in appointing a consultant to review the financial claims made by the contractor for the building to be handed over for use. Currently, the claims have risen to 1.1 billion shillings from the initial cost of 695 million shillings due to penalties and interest, even as the county government maintains that only 764 million shillings is payable.
The Senate Devolution Committee invited the county government of Turkana and Landmark Holdings Limited, the main contractor for the construction of county headquarters in Lodwar, which has taken 11 years. While the county government attributed the delays to poor intergovernmental relations, disagreement between the contractor and subcontractors, and insecurity, the main contractor accused the county government of delaying the appointment of a consultant to finalize the project. Senators dismissed the excuses as frivolous.
And again, the consultant on that one, we have to know who are we dealing with. I would not go and deal with His Excellency the Governor on technical things. Where I need is the technical team, the technical representative of the county to meet us, and then we verify the work's done and we continue from there.
Because there were issues rising for penalties, which we are totally unable to derive from any law. So we feel those are necessary delays. This Senate should really guide us and direct us properly, and even the position of the handing over.
When the contract for the construction of the county offices was awarded in 2014, the cost was 695 million shillings. But delays have attracted penalties and interest, and the county government has so far paid 740 million shillings. The contractor, however, maintains the cost now stands at 1.1 billion shillings and counting, as his equipment continue lying idle at the site.
We will sit as the team, factor some resources in the budget, in the coming budget.
It is a building that I was really, really happy to see that it was done as well as it was done. But it is not anything if it is not being used.
We note that you factored, and this was raised by the Auditor General, 82,588,770 for the installation of AC, when the contract sum for this was 45 million. And so far you've paid 14 million on it, and we would want to know whether when the AC is being installed and operationalized.
The senators now say the contract must be concluded and offices handed over within 30 days.
Thank you, Kevin Washira, for that report. Now, Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale on Monday inaugurated the Benefits Package and Tariffs Advisory Panel and his secretariat to spearhead the implementation of the universal health coverage in Kenya. The advisory panel, chaired by renowned public health expert Professor Walter Jaoko, will provide technical guidance to the Ministry of Health and the Social Health Authority on key health areas.
8 months since the implementation of social health insurance, the scheme is still facing a couple of challenges.
We do apologize for that technical hitch. We'll see if we can bring you that story later on in this bulletin. But Sports Cabinet Secretary, that is Salim Mvurya, has officially handed over Raila Odinga Stadium in Homa Bay to the National Celebrations Steering Committee for purposes of hosting the Madaraka Day National Celebrations set for the 1st of June 2025. During the handover ceremony that took place in the presence of Interior Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo, Mvurya expressed confidence in the stadium's readiness to host the national event, emphasizing the government's commitment to decentralizing national celebrations across the country. Timothy Kipnoso reports.
It's all systems go for the 2025 Madaraka Day celebrations, set to be held at Raila Odinga Stadium in Homa Bay County. Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya on Monday officially handed over the stadium to the National Celebration Steering Committee, expressed confidence in the stadium's readiness to host the national event.
And today we are very happy to say that 99% of the work is now complete, and we are gathered here because we are now handing over this facility to the Celebrations Committee.
The celebrations will be held under the theme Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, in line with the country's strategic focus on unlocking the potential of aquatic resources for sustainable development and economic transformation.
The contractor will also be running through other small works, especially externally, so that by Sunday, then this stadium the people of Homa Bay and all Kenyans can witness the Madaraka Day celebrations.
Area Governor Gladys Wanga, who witnessed the handover, appreciated the government's decision to have her county host this year's Madaraka Day celebration, terming it a great honor.
Will agree with me that what has happened here looks a bit like a miracle. The transformation of the Raila Odinga Stadium in Homa Bay has been miraculous in nature.
Now back to the story that I'd earlier highlighted, and that is Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale on Monday inaugurated the benefits package and tariffs advisory panel and its secretariat to spearhead the implementation of universal health coverage in Kenya. The advisory panel, chaired by renowned public health expert Professor Walter Jaoko, will provide technical guidance to the Ministry of Health and the Social Health Authority on key areas in as far as health is concerned.
8 months since the implementation of social health insurance, the scheme is still facing a couple of challenges, among them inadequate data and high cost of medical services.
I've appointed and officially gazetted the benefits package and tariffs advisory panel through Gazette Notice number 5044 of 23rd April of 2025.
To enhance its effectiveness, the Ministry of Health has inaugurated an advisory panel mandated to provide expert advice on the design of and review of benefit packages and tariffs to both the Ministry of Health and Social Health Authority.
Just from the time I was gazetted, we were gazetted. We've had a lot of calls and a lot of people not fully understanding. They'll be thinking that now we'll be able to answer all the questions. So I think there's a room for people to fully understand what the role of this panel is.
You are to provide us with expert advice on the design and the review of benefit package and tariffs under our Social Health Authority, under our Social Health Insurance Framework. The benefits and package and tariff must be evidence-based. It must reflect equity. It must be financially sustainable. And again, it must align with our national health priorities.
The panel, chaired by Professor Walter Jaoko, will also assess disease burden, population health needs to guide policy decision and support evidence synthesis to aid the Ministry and SHA in structuring benefit packages and tariffs.
Of universal health care, the working of social health insurance fund, and the benefits package and tariff was not there during the NHIF. It was a very unilateral decision. Somebody will call the CEO of the defunct NHIF and he can give you 5 million. That will not be the case.
Speaking during the event at Afya House, the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Aden Duale, emphasized the need to adopt data-driven decision-making, leverage digital solutions to improve service delivery and policy evaluation. Others who graced the inauguration were the Principal Secretary for Medical Services, Ouma Oluga, and his counterpart for Public Health.
And to some political stories where Trans Nzoia County Governor George Natembeya is rallying the Luhya community to vote as a bloc in the 2027 general election as a path to claiming the national cake. Natembeya, who traversed 5 counties in western Kenya, including Kakamega and Bungoma counties, also took a swipe at a section of political leaders from the region over what he termed as their failure to deliver meaningful development. Natembeya, who was accompanied by Roots Party leader George Wajakoya and other allies, dismissed claims that is causing tribal divisions, saying his mission is about leadership.
2027 tutakuwa na nyumba yetu. Siasa ya kupeleka kwa meza, kualikwa kwa meza tumekataa. Hali masuala ya jamii zote inapangiwa, Mluhya atakuwa kwa hiyo meza. Watu kunyanyazwa tena hatutaki. Wale viongozi ambao mnataka ndio tuongea nao, si ndio? Hakuna mambo ya kudictate. Mluhya 2027 lazima anaokoka.
To the corridors of justice, where 2 university students have been charged with allegedly defrauding 15 million shillings from a Rwandese national under the guise of assisting her invest in cryptocurrency trading. Meanwhile, a businessman has been arraigned for defrauding over 5.9 million shillings under the pretense that he would supply rice and sugar. Details in the Scales of Justice segment with Letoa Deborah.
The accused, Jesus Godua, a Central African Republic national, and Judith Mbada, a Kenyan, are said to have obtained 15 million Kenya shillings from Tuyishim Grace by pretending they had the capacity to facilitate the trade. The court has directed that the duo be remanded to await a bail ruling on 28th May this year.
On the issue of bond on the 28th of May, in the meantime, let the accused person remain remanded until then.
In a separate matter, a businessman, Samuel Karuga Washiru, appeared before the same court, where he denied allegations of defrauding Grace Njeri Irungu of 5.9 million Kenya shillings. He is accused of obtaining the funds by falsely claiming he could supply 3,000 bags of 50 kgs rice and 250 bags of 50 kgs sugar. The prosecution opposed his release on bail, citing that he had threatened the complainant, urging her to withdraw the case. The court is set to give its ruling on bail application on Wednesday.
I look at business now. Millers intending to produce maize from the strategic grain reserve will be required to show proof of milling before making full payments of their total allocation. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says the National Cereal and Produce Board will start releasing maize from the reserve to millers this week to stabilize maize prices.
The government blames the current maize shortage on hoarding of available stocks by farmers expecting better prices. This has seen the price increase to 4,700 shillings per 90 kg bag from 3,500 shillings in January this year. To stabilize maize prices, the government has released the first batch of 200,000 bags to millers from the strategic grain reserve. The stocks held at the National Cereals and Produce Board depots will be allocated to millers, associations and individual millers at a subsidized rate of 4,250 shillings per 90 kg bag.
We have enough maize in our strategic food reserves. We also still have enough maize being held by our large-scale farmers, so there shouldn't be any worry.
To deter hoarding, millers are required to make an initial payment for 25% of their total allocation and provide proof of milling and distribution of flour before the full allocation is released.
We are releasing it to millers, also learning institutions. There are procedures that millers or learning institutions can access the maize from government. The price per bag of 90 kg is 4,267.
Millers are required to submit utilization report before their final payment is accepted by the board.
And to Mombasa now, where the Ministry of Information, Communication and the Digital Economy has pledged to empower and equip the youth with diverse ICT skills to tap into global digital job opportunities. Information, Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary William Kabogo said plans are underway to set ICT hubs in Chuda, Shimanzi, Old Town, Majengo and Tononoka wards of Mombasa County to boost digital literacy and address youth unemployment. Speaking during the graduation of 250 students at the Mvita ICT Hub, Kabogo said over 22,000 government services are now accessible online.
Na pia nimeona mna talent ajabu hapa. Hiyo hub ikuwe pia center of talent no innovations, ila watu waweze kujimudu kimaisha kupitia mitandao. Kwa hivyo tunatarajia tutapata hubs 1,450 zikiwemo 47 centers of excellence, mahali tutatrain walimu wa kwenda kutrain wale wanafanya katika hub. Pia tuweke pesa ya kuweza kupatia mikopo ya kompyuta vijana na wasichana na wale ambao wote wataweza kutumia digital hubs.
And I promise
will work with our youth ili wapate kufaidika na hii program. Today is 300, tutasonga taratibu.
Tomatoes Coffee, where the National Coffee Cooperative Union is calling for a one-year extension to June 2026 for implementation of the requirement that all coffee sale proceeds be paid directly to farmers' individual bank accounts. National Coffee Cooperative Union Chairperson Francis Ngone says this extension will enable coffee cooperatives to complete data cleanup, facilitate opening of bank and cooperative accounts for all farmers, and enhance financial literacy.
The government introduced the direct settlement system in August 2023 to enhance transparency for payments to coffee farmers. However, about 2 years on, a number of farmers, especially in rural and marginalized areas, do not yet have a bank or a SACCO accounts. Therefore, the National Coffee Cooperative Union Chairperson Francis Ngone has written a memorandum to Cooperatives Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya calling for a one-year extension up to June 2026 for implementation of the directive requiring direct payments to farmers' individual bank accounts. In the statement it reads, this extension will enable cooperatives to complete data cleanup, facilitate the opening of bank and SACCO accounts for all farmers, and enhance financial literacy. End of quote. He is calling for a safeguard of direct settlement system platform to ensure that it is not politicized by vested interests and parties. The National Coffee Cooperative Union is also keen on a review of the current levy structure to ensure that it does not erode farmer income and that proceeds are transparently managed to support farmer-facing services. Currently, Coffee Brokers, Capital Markets Authority, Nairobi Coffee Exchange and Direct Settlement System are allocated coffee marketing levies.
That story by Alan Oko takes us to sports, where Cabinet Secretary for Sports Salim Vuria says that the Ministry of Sports has now embarked on the process of preparations for the national soccer team Harambee Stars ahead of the African Nations Championship CHAN set for August this year. Kenya, together with Uganda and Tanzania, will be hosting the continental event for home-based players only, and also the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations.
Top seed Zimbabwean Brian Gwizima and number 2 seed former British under-19 champion Charles Kibo will be hoping to carry their recent good form into this year's Karen Open.
Ready for this tournament. Last week I was playing a tournament.
With the renovation and construction works of football grounds in the country ongoing well, the Ministry of Sports is now shifting focus to national team Harambee Stars preparations for the African Nation Championship to kick off in August this year.
Kenya is ready to host CHAN, and therefore any reports, social media or otherwise, should be ignored. We have invested a lot of money in our infrastructure in Kasarani, in Nyayo. We have already paid 1.6 billion hosting fee, and therefore all the other processes are normal processes to ensure that we are in tandem with the progress of making sure that Kenya hosts CHAN.
Kenya Under-17 Girls National Team Junior Starlets played in the Under-17 World Cup last year, winning a match against Mexico in the group stages and narrowly missed out on a second consecutive participation in the global event after losing to Cameroon in their final qualifier. The Kenya Under-20 men's team Rising Stars secured a first-ever ticket to the Africa Cup of Nations, although they were knocked out in the group stages. It is now up to Harambee Stars to take up the mantle, and Cabinet Secretary for Sports Salim Vuria has challenged the national team to lift the CHAN title in their build-up to the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations.
What I would be embarking on in the next few weeks is to prepare our team Harambee Stars, make sure that they win a trophy in that championship.
That story brings us to the end of the news this morning. Thank you, as always, beg your pardon, Thank you as always for your time and starting your day with us here on Good Morning Kenya. Of course, Good Morning Kenya still continues, so stay with us if you can. My colleague Victor Lowe will be up next just shortly after this short break with People and Politics.
In a world where news is ever-changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first. You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
I've only been married for a few years and already akona mtoto nje.
Sijui unataka niseme nini. It is called owning up to your mistake. And honestly, mbona tukuamka tuende?
In fact, mpigie huyo mama Kim, mwambie utaki kazi. Nitatafuta msichana mwingine. Nafikiri hizo nyumba zingine hazina shida zao.
Take some time. Kwa sababu pende usipende, we need to talk.
Greetings in the name of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice,
we have to do it twice.
All right, welcome back. So earlier on, the introduction tulisema Tipanyi iliingia kwa studio. All right, that's now been sorted. Welcome to the program. It's now 6 minutes past 7 a.m. and we are here with People in Politics, and today we want to talk about party politics, what's happening across the country right now. We are seeing an upsurge of different political parties, and we are headed to a political season where a lot of coalitions and friends meeting friends in the country. I just take a look at that in as far as politics is concerned and what is really the interest of these political parties. We have so many of them in the country. I'm joined by Honorable Nabina Bwera, who is representing the great people of Lugari constituency. Mheshimiwa, good morning.
Morning to Victor.
Karibu sana.
I'm happy to be, I call this my home.
Yes.
You know, my many years ago, I was here as a staff.
Yes.
Of the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation.
So uko nyumbani?
I'm home. I'm home, and I invite all of us to join Kenya Broadcasting Corporation morning show.
That's a
today.
good call. That's a good call.
Yeah.
How is Lugari doing?
We are okay. We are receiving rains.
Yes.
Though not as much as we expected. But people have finished weeding. They are now working on the dressing. You know, we produce quite a bit of maize for the country. Students are back in school.
Yeah.
But challenges of capitation, challenges of bursary because CDF had not released money. But I'm told yesterday that they are releasing quite a bit of money.
For the CDF?
For CDF by today. Yes.
Okay, great. We'll get to understand more of that because it's been a thorn in the flesh for a couple of weeks now, and we just want to take a look at that and get us to understand more. Honorable Tom Odege, who is a Member of Parliament, Nyatika constituency, has sent an apology. There is a call to attend a Public Service Commission a meeting this particular morning, so he sent his apology and he'll be here with us next time. So, Mheshimiwa Tom Odege, apology accepted. All right, so Kennedy Ondiek, who is chairman of PPA party, will be here with us shortly, but we have to get the show moving. Mheshimiwa, we are seeing an upsurge of different political parties right now, and I really wanted to get to understand from chairman of PPA, we've seen Honorable Rigathi Gachagua also coming up with another party, and a lot is happening in the country. I mean, this is the season one more time, but when you look at the country, the way we are set up, so many political parties, and at some point somebody would say that we do not know, Kenyans do not know the ideologies behind these political parties. You belong to ODM. What does ODM stand for?
Thank you very much. ODM as a party, political party, stands for democratic space.
Yes.
Expanding our democratic space. Basically, from a political participation point of view, is a liberal democracy. That is what we stand for. Championing the rights of the people, ensuring that people have a conducive environment to participate in politics, in economics, in a social dispensation, to the extent that the welfare of the citizens is at the center stage of our political engagement. Yes.
And now, with an upsurge of different political parties, of course, this is now moved because we are heading to another electoral cycle. So I would presuppose that so many of these parties are going to come up. But then now, the question is, do Kenyans really understand the real meaning of these political parties and what they stand for?
I want to go back to that question.
Yeah.
And if you allow me, respond to it slightly different. Yes, ODM as a political party, for example, how many of the other political parties on the stage have lived the age of ODM? The reason is because many of the political parties that are formed are not formed based on any ideology.
Yeah.
They are not formed based on any principle. They are not. They cannot be identified for any political agenda, other than one thing, that they are being formed to as vehicles of people getting into elective positions.
Yes.
That tells you. You would be asking a question, where did ERB go to?
Yes.
Because it was not based on an ideology. Where did TNA go to? It was just a vehicle to deliver people to elective positions. It was not based on any ideology. Ford Asili, where is it? Where is it?
Yes.
It was not based. Kanu, where is it? So, we have a country where when you are moving towards an election, people look at political parties from three perspectives. Number one, as a vehicle for positioning yourself for an elective positions. Number two, as a source of what I call as a vehicle to enable you to participate in negotiations of political power. And then thirdly, some of them are just forming those political parties as a means to an end.
But then now when you look at all that, then it doesn't make any sense, because mentioning the three reasons why political parties are being formed, there is nothing meant for the national discourse, for national good. Either to negotiate for political positions, either to get power. So where's Wanjiku? I've not heard you talk about Wanjiku.
That's why I'm telling you, the biggest danger we have in this country is that the referee, and I want to, the referee of political parties, who is supposed to ensure that political parties are formed based on the law, has failed this country. And I can tell you, we have so many briefcase political parties, they don't even have an office. If you ask them, where is your office? You will be in shock. They don't have a political office. I mean, a fiscal office where members can go to. If you ask, for example, there is a political party in my county which was being run by the late Omkanda. Ask them where the office is. I know they have 1 or 2 MCAs. Well, just ask them where the fiscal office is. The fiscal office used to be in his house. When he died, the Secretary General operates from wherever he is with the political party. And there are many, many of those political... I was checking yesterday, and I realized that Mount Kenya alone has 28 political parties in Mount Kenya. In my backyard, a few months ago, I think 3 months ago, after the collapse of ANC, a new party was formed in my backyard in Kakamega by those people who used to belong to ANC. Now, what does that tell you? What that tells you is 2 things.
Yes.
One, whereas the citizens of this country are politically aware, they are not aligned to political ideology. And that explains the current debate of by DCP.
Yes.
What is the foundation of DCP? One thing, to ensure that William Samoei Ruto does not have a second term. Now, what is their ideology? You cannot tell people that listening to the ground is an ideology. How can it be? How can listening to the ground be? But that is what the public is. They wanted something that they identify with in their local area. So part of the problem is the citizenship. They don't identify themselves with an ideology. They instead identify themselves with personalities.
Yes.
They instead identify themselves with events. Many of political parties have been born out of events. A good example is this party which was born after ANC was folded by Musalia.
Which one is that? PPA?
They were responding to an event because
is it PPA? Which was
no, not DNA. They were responding to an event. Their party leader folded the party without involving the people. So when he folded the party, the people reacted to it and said, "We'll form our own." We were not prepared to go to UDA. Yeah.
Yeah. Kennedy Ondiek is the chairman of PPA Party, joining us in studio. Kennedy, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Good Morning Kenya. Salama, salama.
Receive greetings from my party leader, Arnold Maleba.
Thank you very much. Salamu imefika.
Okay, thank you.
Tell him that we miss him on set.
He will come.
Okay.
An invitation.
Asante sana.
Thank you.
We are just having this conversation. The formation of political parties. How many political parties do we have in Kenya currently?
There are more than 100.
More than 100.
92 to 100. But there are some.
No,
which
they are
are
beyond 100 now.
There are some which are on provisional certificate, like where we belong, and those which are already fully functional, which are around 93. With the DCP coming in, it's about 94, something like that. Yeah.
You can imagine how many parties we have in the US.
Yeah, there are many also. Not only two.
But they are not as many.
Yeah. We are doing almost 100 political parties. Let me start. What is your ideology of your party?
Okay, fine. Thank you. Well, although when I came in, I found Mheshimiwa Nabera is discussing the aspect of having political parties. Personally, I believe that Article 38 of the Constitution of Kenya does provide for pluralism, where we anticipate the existence of numerous political parties, because the freedom that is guaranteed in that particular article does allow any Kenyan to participate or take part in or form a political party, which also entails right to fair election, right to hold public office. It means every Kenyan has a right to form a political party or participate in a political party. In essence, mathematically speaking, we are allowed to have more than 50 million political parties, because each person has a right to participate or form a political party. So if we are having 93 in a population of let's say 20,000 voters, 20 million voters, then that one is no problem. Let us move to historical development of democracy. Even the countries you refer to, even the America, the United States, it was not just a single party at the beginning. There are not two parties. Even the Whig, there is a Whig, there are other parties. But in the process of continued development and refining of ideological understanding and dispensation differences, each country has its democracy evolving. And Kenya is only 60 years after independence. So having many parties is a process of us trying to develop our confined or structured ideology. And so we, as a country, a young democracy, cannot be forced to fly even before we start to scroll. So let us learn to create parties. Let us learn to join different parties. Let us learn to understand what is an ideology, and how we build that ideology is supposed to be subject to an aspiration. Like now, you asked me about our PPA, Progress Plus Alliance, is a political party that has emerged out of the intention to ensure that Kenya, having attained independence, and now, having also gone through the second liberation of ensuring we have democratic space, multipartyism and the rest, right to expression, right to fair hearing and the rest, entrenched in our Constitution of Kenya 2010, now we are focusing into progressive development of our country. The Progress Plus Alliance as a party now tries to bring in the aspect of progression from like tomorrow, next week, I think over the weekend, we are going to deal with Madaraka Day. We are going to be celebrating Madaraka Day. But then we are supposed to evaluate how far have we progressed in terms of economic development, socio-political strengthening, including our ideological building around political parties. So this is what Progress Plus Alliance is trying to bring in. One, to bring in young generational leadership, and that's why you realize that we are coming up with what we call the prison break. Because Kenya is a prison guarded by Honorable Nabwera and his friends. They are just prison guards. William Ruto is a major prison guard, and then Honorable Nabwera and the rest are prison guards guarding us. So that when they hear that we are forming a party, they get curious and they complain why we are forming another party. When youths meet, like we had our meeting with Madaraka Baso, Kasmuel Makure, Arnold Maliba, when we sat together with John Nene, Fanyamambo Kaona, and some young people, they came and started talking about us like if, oh, these are projects, oh, these are, because we are in prison where the rights and fundamental freedoms which are enshrined in the Constitution are not attainable. And so they keep us here. That's why we want a prison break. So in summary, PPA intends to open democratic space, not only for that sake, but to bring good manners in governance.
Has it been lacking? Has it been lacking?
Good manners in governance. When you talk about corruption, we have a government where we are talking about fighting corruption. How do you fight corruption which you are the one who is doing? Because it is government which is doing, which is corrupt, and it is the government saying they are fighting corruption. No, when you are fighting something, there's a chance that you will lose or win.
Mheshimiwa Nambera gave 3 instances as to why political parties are formed in Kenya. One of them is to negotiate and use it as a tool to negotiate for political powers and for positions and all that. Do you buy that as well?
Personally, because of the bad manners we have had in our governance system and our political endeavor, it has become one of the reasons, and I believe maybe it's in a political party so that he can negotiate, because that is what the big political players have been doing. If you look at Wetangula, he used it to negotiate the position where he's seated. If you look at Mudavadi, he used ANC to negotiate the position he's currently seated. If you look at Kingi, Jeff Kingi, the Speaker for the Senate, he used power to negotiate that. If you look at even in the past dispensation, and now Raila Odinga has come to even get through the back door and use his position, his party, to negotiate the positions that he's having.
That's the only thing that you also plan to do as PPA?
No, I am telling you, that's why I told you, Progress Plus Alliance intends to bring good manners in governance of our country. Good manners. The reason why we are failing as a country is simply because we are badly mannered. Like yesterday, I saw Senator Chiralgei complaining that the kind of entourage the governor from Trans Nzoia had is a show of opulence and wastage without considering the people. Yet, the president is on a daily move. And how much does the president, including themselves, spend on weekly basis in those unnecessary errands? So we have bad manners generally, and that's what we need to entrench.
Yes, Mheshimiwa Nambera.
I think, Victor, one of these days, ask us when we want to come to participate in a debate, declare to us the people we are going to debate with, because it's trivializing the debate if we go the direction my brother is going. Why am I saying trivializing? To say that you expect 50 million people, everyone is expected to form a party. That's trivial.
No, it's not trivial. It's constitutional.
I've given you an opportunity to speak because I'm going to that constitution you are talking about. Yes, please. You will have to be patient with me because I'm going to be very patient with you. But if you want to heckle, I will say I don't participate in heckling. Yes, I debate.
Execute your point.
I debate. Article 91 of the Constitution of Kenyan political parties says every political party shall have a national character. Let's look at that. If each one of us, the 1 million people, 50 million people, form a political party, if that is the interpretation of law, then we need to have a national character. What is national character? That means if I have a party formed in Lugari, that party must be in all parts of this country. Exactly. That's what. So how would it be that each of the 50 million of us would have a political party? That would be not even a village. It will be a house party. So it's not a political party. That's not what the Constitution contemplates. But it says, have a democratically elected governing body, promote and uphold. I want to speak about that. National unity. If you were to dissect that promote and uphold national unity. Then even a party which is only represented in a region does not qualify. And that's why I was telling you, the registrar of political parties, and again, if you go to the Political Parties Act, it has put there all the issues, the areas. And I can tell you, my brother, that if you see the requirements to form a political party, it then tells you, even that template where you put your membership and all, it now tells you, you cannot be expecting 50 million people to form a political party. And let me also help my brother. Some of us have been jailed and imprisoned for opening this spate of political parties. So when we talk about political parties, we know what we are talking. When I was in the student leading the university, I had to stay in jail because I was agitating for multipartyism. Okay? And we were not agitating for village parties. We were agitating for political parties that would capture the national mood of the country. Yeah. Right? You know, part of the reason he's complaining and lamenting about bad manners. What has brought about bad manners? It is because political parties have failed to do what they are supposed to be, and therefore people have formed regional political parties, producing regional political commanders. And William Ruto, where he is, he's been forced now to engage political commanders, regional political commanders, for a country to survive. That's not what we intended in this thing. What this constitution envisages is that you will, I'm still waiting. You asked a question to my colleague to bring out the political ideology of their party. I'm still waiting. Please, can I understand what it is?
Okay. Can we do that after the break?
I think
yes. Can we answer that after the break?
I'll not answer that. I'll answer it while I'll address matters that he has raised. Because you see...
That is okay.
Yeah, Honorable
so we can take a quick break.
Okay, fine.
Then we continue that. Okay. All right, stay with us. Political parties, that's what we're talking about. Party politics. We are yet to see more. Can I also have mine? Now that Honorable Ndiek says that all of us should have a political party. Can I have one?
Yeah, you can form your party.
Okay. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Je, umewahi kuwa na deni ya KRA? Basi usiwe na shaka. KRA wakishirikiana na KBC wamekuandalia roadshow murwa kabisa. Jiunge nasi tukufahamishe kuhusu KRA Tax Amnesty Program na jinsi utakavyoweza kusamehewa adhabu na riba na KRA. Pia tutakuwa tunakusaidia kujaza fomu za kodi za mwaka 2024 na kukusaidia na huduma za KRA kwa mtaa wako. Jumatano tarehe 28 mwezi Mei tutakuwa Kisumu City. Tutazuru Kenyatta Grounds, Kibuye, Mamboleo, Kawosh, Manyata, Ahero, Nyamasaria, Nyalenda Stage, Kondele, kisha turejee Kenyatta Grounds. KRA, tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee.
Unaishi wapi?
Bangladesh, mheshimiwa.
Bangladesh ni India mani?
Sio India, hapa hivi Longai, mheshimiwa. KWS.
Ndio.
Umeshawahi kuliwa?
Na nani? Kuliwa na nani? Kuliwa na nani?
Na fish.
Na nini?
Na fish.
Bado sijakuliwa na fish.
Bado. First of all, you have said you are a terrorist.
Hapana, iko terrorist, mimi iko
terrorist. Mheshimiwa Maki hiyo
amesema
mjue hapa mko kwa hatari saa hii.
Sikiza. Amesema yeye ni tourist.
How do you run when the hyena is just there? How can you run?
Si uongee lugha ile utaelewa. Sasa hii kizungu unangangana na
tunaelewana kisungu.
Hakuna kitu tunaelewana.
Kwa nini wakati fisi nimeua fisi ndio mnakuja kunishika? Why?
Hao ni wadudu ambao wanapatikana kwa uchafu. Fisi ni mnyama ambaye analindwa na sheria.
So mimi ni mchafu. You want me to say mimi ni mchafu? Baby face kama mimi ni mchafu.
Angalia nywele yako kwa pasi. Hiyo sura yako imekunjana ni baby face.
Sasa unupuzi gani?
I've only been married for a few years and already akona mtoto nje.
Sijui unataka niseme nini. It is called owning up to your mistake. And honestly, mbona tukuamka tuende?
In fact, pigia huyo mama Kim, mwambie utaki kazi. Ndatafuta msichana mwingine. Nafikiri hizo nyumba zingine hazina shida zao.
Take some time. Kwa sababu pende usipende, we need to talk.
All right, welcome back. So all of us have their cups of hot water and coffee. I have coffee. Mheshimiwa, you need to have coffee.
Today I wanted black tea, but the good lady has told me she doesn't subscribe to Kericho.
Ah, very good.
My hot water is full to the brim.
It's full to the brim. So we serve people very well. All right, welcome back. So let's talk about that. You wanted to respond to something. To have a rebuttal.
I wanted to say that one, as a people, we made a social contract through the promulgation of our 2010 Constitution, and that was amendment of our aspiration. And so we have a constitution. We have with a very strong preamble, trying to introduce the reasons as to why we gave unto ourselves that constitution and for our posterity. I would wish to make a rebuttal to Honorable Nabwera's assertions. One, while he claims that I should have not said we should have 50 million political parties, even the qualities or the factors he has said does also not indicate that we should have 1 or 2 political parties. So having 91 or 92,
there's no threshold.
There's no threshold of how many political parties should be. The only threshold we have is one person should be subscribing to one political party at a time, and in fact not forever. Because I know Honorable Nabwera is not going to run on ODM ticket again, because most that's the truth. Maybe we'll rebut.
We can hold that.
Yes, hold that. Because there are reasons which will make him not true.
Victor, you are in my backyard last weekend.
Right. We don't hear me.
You visited me in my weekend. You know very well in that place you were. The people are strong in ODM.
Yes.
And they are not
so
just...
will you run on ODM or PPA?
Listen, we are not just strong in ODM.
Yes.
We are part and parcel of that party. My number is 0796, founder member. Okay. Forget about these pretenders who heckle and wanted to chase other people. I am in ODM to stay. You will meet me there.
Okay.
So if you come, if you have a candidate, please be assured your candidate will be running against
maybe I was making my point.
And for that reason, my brother, don't worry about ODM. It's here to stay.
It's okay. May I make my point?
Go ahead.
Maybe for the sake of the debate. One, a political party is actually a formation which is a provision of the Constitution subject to Political Parties Act, and which should have an intention of taking over power. You know, the main duty or the main reason why a political party is formed in a democratic system, especially a Republican democratic system like the one we have in Kenya, is to capture state power. If you have a political party whose duty is always not to capture state power, but to hang on power that has been captured by other parties, then I'm telling you that that is not a party. So that is a formation of negotiators, formation of arm twisters, formation of persons who threaten the situations that have emerged out of an election. I want to bring in the aspect of our party, because it is good. Today it's about political parties, if there are other things which we'll deal with. One, as a country, I started by saying we gave ourselves at the Constitution.
Yes.
And this Constitution is actually providing for the duties that are lying upon us as the people, as the populace. One of which is to be loyal to the state. Two, which is to take care of your taxation. You have to pay your taxes.
Yeah.
You have to be patriotic to our country, which most Kenyans and almost all of us have done. But there are also obligations that accrue on the state as to the people. Because if you go to Thomas Hobbesian theory of rights, you realize that when we went to form a social contract, we submitted our powers, inherent powers, to procure for ourselves in the way that gives the state the duty to ensure that it develops, distributes, and manages resources to ensure that we are self-preserved. But the problem is that Article 28 of the Constitution, providing for human dignity, has been ignored. Kenyans are suffering. Some Kenyans can't even pay bills. Some Kenyans can't even wear good clothes. Some are even living under trees simply because the state has failed to do their part of its part of obligation. Number two, security has become a challenge. You have seen a member of parliament hijacked, whether by himself or by his friends or by the state. We are being treated to numerous theories even before an investigation is conducted. Yet when a member of parliament was killed, we have seen how fast that investigation was done, simply because that one was for the broad-based government and this one is for the loyal opposition. So they don't care about what happens to the loyal opposition, yet they care about what happens to the broad-based government members. And that one tells you that Article 40 of the Constitution of Kenya, requiring for socio-economic rights, including right to water, right to security, right to clean environment, right to good education, right to health, is actually subject to where you belong. So I want to tell you that as a people, we gave ourselves guidelines that are supposed to provide for how we interact with both the state and the people. The people have done their part, but the state is deliberately failing to do their part and doing it sparingly depending on where your allegiance fall.
But gentlemen, one thing that is not coming out is the voice and the position of Wanjiku in the formation of political parties. You've given so many articles in the Constitution, but the common denominator here is Wanjiku. How does Wanjiku now benefit with all these formation of political parties?
Victor.
Yes.
Who is Wanjiku?
Who is Wanjiku?
Who is Wanjiku? Before I was elected, I was a commoner. I was a commoner who joined up with other people to form ODM. For all intents and purposes, simply because I've been given the honor by my people to lead them, it does then not mean that because I'm in that position, I do not subscribe to what you are calling Wanjiku. I get, they have just formed a party. Are you saying they formed a party when they were up there? No, they are just part of the Wanjiku system that have come together and said we need to voice our agenda. But I say this, Victor. Whereas I agree entirely with what my brother is saying, that a political party exists to win power. He also must accept that in winning power, you compete with other political parties. And therefore, when you compete on that other political parties, the question that we should be dealing with, all of us, is what are we competing about?
The national good.
Yes, what are we competing about? That I should be having my agenda. He should be having his agenda. Another person is having the agenda. What he has destroyed the politics of political parties in this country, it is that same very Wanjiko you were calling about. Because instead of superintending the players, the political players, and insisting on an agenda that is people-based as required by the Constitution.
Yeah.
You've heard lately people saying we go to collect money. I mean, if I and him are going to the political arena and the public discovers that I have no agenda, they should not even come to listen to me. They shouldn't. Why are they listening to no agenda? That because I have money? That destroys the very fabric within which we are talking about the public having the supreme authority.
And that is one of the biggest challenges, the money muscle power.
Exactly. Even good politicians, good politicians, people with an agenda, political parties that I have seen, I would say, they really have an ideology. May not see the light of day because they may not be having the resources.
Yeah.
And yet, this constitution again, and that's why I was telling you, the registrars fail us. The constitution says, actually, to empower political engagement, public money be used.
Okay.
Victor, allow me now bring you to the real elephant in the house. And I want to tell you this. Once I'm done with explaining what I am telling you, then Honorable Nabuera will confirm that there are many parties which are supposed to be formed. I come from Homa Bay County. I come from Nyanza. I am a Luo by birth, and it is not my mistake to be born there. I have found myself in a structure where we have been having, since independence, while other regions are changing leaders. If you go to Kambani, we had people like the old Kamba, Ronald Ngara and the rest. If you go to the coast, if you go to different regions, you will find different people who have been in the political dispensation. If you go to Western, you will find people like Masinde Muliro have come and gone. If you go to Central Kenya, we had the Kenyatas, we have the Koinanges, we have the Njonjos who have come and gone, who have gone. There is only one thing which is constant in only one region, and that is the Udingaism, which is constant in Luo region. I am not going to mention it negatively. What I'm going to say is this. Personally, Victor, you know me very well. I have struggled in this political. I was elected on ODM ticket as a member of County Assembly. And it was not a job which I was looking for. Basically, I went in a by-election just to hold the brief for my brother who passed on. So it was not a duty that I had to even defend. I didn't even defend it because I felt that I am supposed to be a member of parliament, or I'm supposed to be a governor or a president of this country. So the reason why it is not possible if you are a progressive leader in our region, for example, and Honorable Nabuera will confirm this to you, that any person with progressive mind in our region who wants to develop or who wants to bring proper change in our region cannot succeed because of the political monarchical leadership that we have had in that region. And that is why you saw me those days when I struggled to open democratic space in Nyanza using PDP when we were with Honorable Governor Kothobado. The same crocodile became so heavy that they blocked us even before that party could field a candidate, so that they could control the monarchical structure. You understand what I'm saying? And sometimes you don't have to sugarcoat these things because we have done too much sugarcoating. Number two, when I joined UDA, personally I didn't join UDA so that I work with the president. I joined UDA because we thought this would now be the space where we would utilize this party to create alternative leadership in our region, which when we were already succeeding, that time I was the coordinator of UDA in Nyanza, I was not to work with the president, but I was to use that opportunity so that we democratize our region, so that we can get good leaders on Bunabwera. The leaders we are having, look at it, for example, when we talk about political party ideologies, in our region, if you go there, all members of parliament in our county who are all given direct tickets, knowing very well that they are going to win automatically once they have that ticket of ODM. And you have even seen how some people really explain how it is hard to get ODM ticket, even if you are a popular candidate. I'm a popular candidate, even for governorship, as I am saying, I'm running for governorship of Homa Bay. In 2027, against Governor Gladys Wanga, I'm going to make a declaration very soon. But I'm telling you, that popularity...
Hold that.
Victor, can I say something?
Hold that. That's the climax of your submission. We'll revisit.
I'll come to it. I'll come to it. So let me just land on this point.
In 1 minute, so that I can have him in.
Honorable Nabuera, once we have such kind of cartelship in political party like ODM, which is predominant in our region, you realize that there is only one problem which must be sorted. If you can't fit in that house, you have to form another house, because the intention we have is to have good leadership. The mess we have in our region is purely because of single party which has deliberately become predominant.
But then now,
that's the problem.
Let's just come back home slightly. Mheshimiwa Nabera, just before I come back to you, when you listen to, for example, how Honorable Rigathi Gachagua was hounded out of office because he talked about our region, Mount Kenya.
Yes.
And that did not go well with other people. As per the Constitution, you must have a political party that has a national outlook and an outfit. All right? So when you talk about our region and dynastic succession, ODM is a national party.
Let me tell you, if ODM is a national party, do they have MCA in Central? Do they have MCA in Ukambani?
Okay.
If it is a national party, then it should also be disbanded because they don't have representation in those regions.
Let me talk about that.
Okay,
yes.
Come in.
You know, that is where rubber meets the road. My brother, we cannot reduce formation of political parties to regional problems. You see, what you are explaining to us is the social anthropological issues of the Luo nation, which does not affect the country Kenya. Yes, because
why don't you go and run in Mombasa? You are also running in your village. Why can't you go and run in Mombasa if you want to be regional, national?
Let him submit.
That's a lie. Those are the things which I say.
Let him finish.
You see,
then I'm going to heckle.
Let me tell you.
Because that's not true. You can't lie. You have gone to your village, gone to your primary school where you vote. That's where you start from. So when I discuss our region, you don't take it back to... I'm a Luo by birth.
All right. All right.
I think I repeat, and I want you to understand me.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you go to
just a minute, each one of us...
Because you are lying to yourself. No. Go and run in Central Kenya.
Okay.
Each one of us come from our region.
Yeah.
We cannot transpose our regional issue. And that's what ate up Gachagua, by the way. Transposing a regional problem to become the national problem. That's what I'm trying to say. And I'm saying, you know, we cannot take the measure of the dominance of the Odinga family in the Luo politics to be the problem of Kenya. That's what I'm refusing. For example, why am I refusing that? Because from where I come from, we have identified with him from a different perspective. What is the perspective? That he has champions national social justice. Okay? So that is our identification. Now, my brother here, I have seen people with the Honorable Cheng, one of my closest friends in Parliament.
David Ocheng.
David Ocheng. He is a neighbor to Bondo. but he has won an election on another party.
Yeah.
Because he was able to sell his alternative view to his people.
No, because
which I also believe, if you have another party and you go and sell your alternative view, you sell your alternative view, it may be accepted or not be accepted.
So now it comes to my issue, my brother Victor. If Ochieng never got out of ODM and formed this party, would you be with him in parliament?
That brings the aspect
because he was locked out.
That brings the aspect of internal democracy
in the political parties.
So how do we strengthen that? Internal democracy and good governance in political parties.
That is what I wanted to drive. And Mheshimiwa, I value the point you brought forth. But let me tell you, that's why we are talking about new breed of leadership, young generation of leadership. Yeah. Victor, we have decided to entrust our destiny and the destiny of Kenya for individuals who no longer have the vision. Because if someone can say that Odingaism is not the problem in your region, yet if you don't subscribe to them, if you don't take money to them, and this is not an allegation.
Let's move from that and now broaden it.
Now let me come into political party. What we talk about democracy. Yeah. One, most of these parties have got a capital D on their abbreviation to mean democracy. But if you go to internal management and internal mechanisms, let me tell you, my brother Lo, you come from a region. You know, for me, what pains me the most is that we know the problem, and when the problem is being addressed,
so how do we strengthen political democratic space in internal party affairs?
All over the country.
Even the way you're planning to do that in PPA.
What should happen? Yeah. Honorable Nabera, I want to make it like this. One, what should happen in a political party? A person should be very free to join a political party he wants. Number two, we are not supposed to make people feel that if this is not the party, then you are wrong. You have heard in the past, our region, when some people ran on different tickets, they were even their houses were burnt. Simply because of what? The other time when we started UDA, when I started coordinating UDA in Nyanza, you saw UDA office burnt in CI. What was that? Well, that is intolerance. Yeah. And even if you go to internal democracy, if you looked at the elections which the ODM conducted, somebody lost fingers. Somebody lost the head. Because of what? They are fighting for nothing. Because someone has hijacked the process. You hear there's a list being brought this side, there's a list being brought this side. And my brother, you have always seen our nomination processes. I believe in a country where we can all go and exercise our rights. And that is why I'm saying, as PPA, we are going to field candidates in different positions, and the decision maker will be the people at the IEBC, so that a good leader does not fail to reach the ballot paper.
Thank you. Mheshimiwa Nabwera, he's really burning to make his
Victor.
Yeah.
I've listened to my brother here. And I wanted to, all of us on this panel, to reflect on what is happening with the newest kid on the block, DCP. That's the newest party which seems to be gaining momentum from where I sit.
Yeah.
You have heard the debate of last week, where the leader, the party leader of DCP is very categorical that in this region, if you are not going to run on DCP, then ole wangu, you have no say. To the extent that musicians who went to Kindiki's home in Karen official residence, they have been even forced to apologize by the public themselves. Samido, in 8 hours, had over 100,000 unsubscription. His music could not play in clubs in central Kenya and parts of Nairobi here. I started by telling you there are two big problems in party politics in Kenya. The first, I said the referee does not know. She has failed us to supervise. And number two, I told you the members of those political, the citizens who are unsubscribing, Samido, who are they? Who are these people now saying, if you don't subscribe to DCP, we cannot even now listen to you? Isn't it? And I told you, it is simply because our understanding as a nation or as a people of a political party is skewed. Is skewed. I can tell you, for example, I'm an official of the ODM party. I'm the county secretary of the ODM party in Kakamega. I've been in the think tank of the party for as long as I joined this party. Why I told my brother, sometimes it is regional issues that it evolves into a political culture. Yeah? I've been to Luo Nyanza myself. Even within the ODM party itself, within the ODM party, you've gone for a discourse. And one branch of the same people with another. It is their nature. It evolves from being a discourse to a violent discussion.
Okay.
Right? And I want to put this. That does not mean that that does not mean that you cannot thrive in it. What that simply means is that we have put aside the law, of course, because if the register of political parties had taken action against these people, we'll be having proper, what I call hygienic political party.
That was exactly my next question.
Political party.
Can we make it better?
Yes, there is.
Can we make it better?
It is actually, for me,
yes,
where I sit, there are only two people who can make this thing better. The membership of that political party and the registrar of political parties. He must rein in, or she must rein in. Omami, if the law says that you must allow people to participate, if the law says this is a multi-party situation, and there is one political party stopping other political parties, why can't we use the law?
But registered political parties will do the work as mandated by the Constitution. But we have got internal party structures, which sometimes the registered
registrar who is supposed to ensure
Yeah.
that what you have like him, he will tell you, they are supposed to submit a constitution.
Yes.
Before a political party is registered.
Okay.
Then who is supposed to ensure that you are following your constitution? That is why we pay using public money.
I think sometimes
can we make our political parties super hygienic?
Let me tell you, I think first of all we have to avoid being theoretical sometimes. And Mheshimiwa is being too theoretical simply because when he talks about Samido, for example, and the people offboarding his music and the platforms, nobody instructed anybody to offboard or maybe to unfollow anyone. The people have decided, and I'm telling you, Kenyans have decided they don't want anything to do with William Ruto.
Okay.
So as long as you go to pay allegiance to William Ruto, who is oppressing the people, abducting the people, frustrating Kenyans, making the things not to work.
We can't authenticate that.
No, but I'm having a right to invoke the situation.
That is his,
yes, it's my opinion.
That is your opinion.
And excuse me.
You misunderstood.
So I'm telling you why people are unfollowing Samido. Nobody instructed them because.
Just hold it. Just hold it.
I wanted to give you a comparison.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about DCP, for example, being unfair or maybe telling people that the region, if you go there, what happened to the 6 MPs who first of all went and met the president
I want us
in
to
State House?
wind up. Can we make our political parties clean? How are you ensuring that your political party is clean?
These political parties cannot be clean if we still believe on the mentalities of patronage. This patronage aspect must end. Let parties be made as ideological tools and not surrounding, not subject to people. Where now we talk about DCP, which is Gachagua. We are talking about ANC or the former ANC. Or we are talking about ODM, which is Raila. The day Kenyans will separate the party from individuals. Like when you go to America, Republican belongs to who?
We are overrunning.
To the people.
We are overrunning.
So let Kenyans, first of all, agree that the parties will belong to them and not to individuals.
Thank you. Can we make our political parties clean? Yes or no?
Yes, we can. And I've told you it is about the membership.
Thank you.
You know, listening to him, he's just explaining my point. All I'm saying
will be here.
It is that the citizens must take the bull by its horns.
Thank you so much.
And I've also said we have a law. Can we implement the Political Parties Act?
But the truth is,
latter.
people have left the presidency and people are not
member of
interested
Parliament,
in William
Tugari
Ruto
constituency,
anymore.
founder member of ODM, and the chairman of PPA. Thank you so much.
In a world where news is ever-changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first. You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
It's all about nurses.
We spend 24 hours with the patient. You're lucky as a patient to spend an hour in 24 hours with a doctor.
The nurse ensures that preparation of all equipment, instrumentation is done.
Your vital signs are okay. Your BP is okay, 120/71. And also heart rate is 83, which is very normal.
We keep that spirit of being kind, no matter how the condition of the patient.
It's about compassion, courage, and the quiet strength that nurses bring every single day.
The first person who touches a human being is a nurse. And the person who gives you that peaceful goodbye during the logic end is a nurse.
And as the world pauses to honor nurses, we share the story of the people who show up not for recognition, but for a simple, powerful mission: to care.
Shukrani sana mtazamaji wa KBC Channel 1 na wenzangu upande wa pili wa studio, vile vile KBC Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya, liko mwenzangu Rashid Mwamkondo. Tunapatana tena katika Gumzo Pevu, unakuwa ni ushirikiano wa Channel 1 na vile vile KBC Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya. Leo pia tutapiga siasa, tutaangazia masuala ambayo yanatuhusu na hasa uchumi wa taifa letu, na tutakuwa tunakueleza basi ni uchumi upande upi, ama ukipenda leo tunaangazia masuala ya uchumi samawati. Je, haya yanahusu vipi ama yanahusu kitu gani? Andamana nasi na utupatie maswali yako kupitia mitandao ya kijamii kwenye Facebook KBC Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya, KBC Channel 1 na vile vile kupitia mitandao yetu ya X. Msikilizaji na mtazamaji, uchumi samawati wa Kenya unaibuka kuwa sekta muhimu sana karibu na maendeleo ya taifa hili, huku serikali ikilenga kuongeza mapato yake hadi shilingi bilioni 120 kila mwaka kufikia mwaka 2026. Kwa sasa sekta hii inachangia takriban shilingi bilioni 37.6 kwa pato la taifa, ama ukipenda GDP. Miongoni mwa miradi inayoendelezwa ni ujenzi wa bandari ya samaki ya Shimoni katika kaunti ya Kwale, ambayo pia inatarajiwa kuongeza uwezo wa kuhifadhi samaki pamoja na kuzalisha nafasi zingine nyingi za ajira. Na pia kuna uwekezaji mkubwa katika miundo mbinu ya uvuvi katika ziwa Victoria ili kuongeza uzalishaji na thamani ya mazao ya samaki. Mtazamaji na msikilizaji, hata hivyo kuna changamoto kama vile uvuvi kupita kiasi, mabadiliko ya tabia nchi, ukosefu wa miundo mbinu bora na matatizo ya usimamizi. Na ili kukabiliana na haya, serikali inashirikiana na mashirika ya kimataifa kama vile Muungano wa Ulaya, ukipenda EU, na China ili kuimarisha usalama wa baharini na kujenga uwezo wetu kitaifa. Tunapokaribia kusherehekea siku ya Madaraka ambayo ni tarehe 1 Juni, yenye kauli mbiu uchumi wa samawati na masuala ya baharini, kuna msisitizo mkubwa pia wa kuongeza uwekezaji na kuhakikisha maendeleo endelevu ya sekta hii muhimu kwa uchumi wetu wa Kenya. Na ili kuelewa zaidi kuhusiana na uchumi samawati, msikilizaji na mtazamaji, basi studioni tunaye katibu katika idara ya uchumi samawati na uvuvi, Bi Besi Njagi, ambaye anaenda kutusaidia kuelewa masuala haya kwa kina. Karibu sana mheshimiwa.
Asante sana.
Nangangana sana na jina lako, karibu nikuite Betty. Mara nyingi hapo kwa Betsy yatatiza, lakini karibu.
Lakini umesema visawa kabisa.
Nimesema vizuri, Betsy Njagi.
Yes.
Asante. Mheshimiwa, labda tusaidie kuelewa tu tunapoanza majadiliano haya. Wakati tunazungumzia uchumi samawati, kuna wale wana maswali, kwanza mnazungumzia mambo gani kabla hujaingia katika kina cha haya majadiliano?
Ya kwanza ni kusema asante sana kwa kutukaribisha hapa Radio Taifa. Tunashukuru sana. Na kwa majina umesema vizuri, naitwa Betsy Njagi. Mimi ndio katibu mkuu katika idara ya uchumi samawati na mambo ya uvuvi. Ya kwanza, uchumi samawati ni uchumi yote ambayo inaendelea kwa maziwa zetu, kwa mito, kwa dams, kwa rivers, kwa ocean. Hiyo yote ndio uchumi samawati. Ukuwa ni uvuvi, masuala ya bahari ambayo ni water transport, ukuwa ni tourism, sports, anything ambayo inaendelea kwa bahari yetu ama kwa lakes ama kwa rivers, hiyo ndio uchumi samawati. Yes, hiyo ndio economy around your space yetu. Hiyo ndio uchumi samawati.
Okay. Yes. Manake kuna watu tayari walikuwa sasa hii mambo mara mnatuambia uchumi blue, lakini tunajua mengi Kiswahili kingi tunaiga kutoka kwa wenzetu wa Tanzania.
Ni kweli.
Asante. Kwa hivyo mambo ya baharini, mambo ya tukiangalia maziwa, hizo ni lakes.
Yes.
Yani chochote ambacho water bodies katika nchi yetu.
Exactly.
Naam.
Yes.
Asante. Shukrani sana. Na tukiingia katika mjadala wetu wa siku ya leo, tunajua kwamba serikali ina malengo yake, na moja yao kwamba pia mnalenga kuongeza mapato ya uchumi samawati kutoka shilingi bilioni 37.6 za sasa hadi bilioni 120 kufikia mwaka 2026. Jamani, inawezekana? Na iwapo inawezekana, basi mikakati ipi mmeweka kuhakikisha kwamba tunafika pale?
Ya kwanza ni ukweli inawezekana, kwa sababu saa zile rais wetu Daktari William Ruto alipoenda kaunti zote za Lake Victoria na kaunti za Indian Ocean, aliketi na wavuvi chini, akaketi na BMU units chini, na wakamueleza hii ndio changamoto ambayo tunapata kwa hii bahari, kwa hii mito zetu, na tukaweka mikakati ambayo itaweza kusaidia wavuvi, mama karanga, wenye wanatengeneza boti au wote. Na hizi mikakati nikikueleza kwa kinagaubaga, tumeweza kutengeneza zile landing sites ambazo ziko na vifaa za kuwekeza samaki wamama wanaweza uza samaki hapo. Tumetengeneza 8 katika Lake Victoria na pia Indian Ocean, na sasa tunatengeneza zingine 15 ambayo itagharimu serikali ya Kenya Kwanza shilingi bilioni 2. Hizi vifaa zitakuwa na ice making machines za kutoa barafu, kutakuwa na cold storage ambayo tunaweza hifadhia samaki, kutakuwa na mahali wanaweza uzia samaki, kutakuwa na mahali ambayo wanaweza tengeneza maji, kwa sababu saa zingine ukiangalia ile maji yenye iko kwa bahari na maji iko kwa ziwa, hiyo si maji ambayo wanaweza kunywa. So hizo vifaa zinafanya ile water desalination. Na pia kuna solar system, kwa sababu saa zingine kuna changamoto ya power. So hiyo solar system itaweza kuwapatia alternative ya kuensure that kuna power kwa hizo vifaa. Ya pili ambayo tumeweza kufanya ni kuwasaidia na maboti ndogo ndogo za wale wavuvi wadogo. Tumeweza kuwapatia boti 123 katika eneo ya bahari. Hizo boti zitaweza kuwasaidia at least kwenda kuvua, lakini serikali hii imeweza sasa kutenga pesa shilingi milioni 6 ambayo itaweza kuwasaidia na boti kubwa ambazo wanaweza enda kufanya ile deep sea fishing. Na hiyo deep sea fishing wanaweza enda hata siku 10, waende watu kama 7, watu 10, na wakae hapo at least for 7 nights ama 10 nights, 7 to 10 nights, waweze kuvua na walete vifaa zao. Hizo boats zitakuwa na pia hiyo cold storage, mahali wanaweza kaa, mahali wanaweza pumzika. Kwa sababu ukiangalia wavuvi wetu hawajaweza kufanya uvuvi kwa ile kiwango ya juu. Wanafanya ile kidogo ya kuchukua ya leo, inaenda inaharibika. Alafu wanapatia familia, maybe wanakula moja, samaki moja, ingine wanauza. So unaona hatuwezi empower wavuvi. Lakini through the State Department tuweza kupanga mikakati ambayo itaweza kusaidia wavuvi. So ukiangalia hizo cold storage facilities ambazo tunajenga, already 5 zinajengwa upande wa Coast Region. Kuna Mwaepe in Kwale, kuna Kilifi Central in Kilifi, kuna Mkoa in Lamu, Kipini in Tana River, alafu pia kuna Kidongo in Mombasa County. Ukiangalia hizo eneo zote, hizo cold facilities zinatumia karibu bilioni 1.5. Hizo facilities zinasaidia wavuvi. Ukiangalia hizi wa Victoria nayo tunajenga 10. Ukiangalia Kisumu kuna Asat na Ogal landing site, kuna Siaya kuna Wichlum na Sembo Bay, Oma Bay kuna Wakula, Mainuga na Janthiwa, alafu Bumbe in Busia na Gotkachola na Muru Bay in Migori County. Hizo vifaa zote pia zinatumia shilingi bilioni 1.5. Sasa hizi interventions ndizo rais alipromise wananchi wa Lake Victoria, wananchi wa Coastal Region, na akawaeleza hawa wavuvi tutawasupport ili kuinua uchumi yao, ili waache kuenda kuvua samaki inaharibika, hawana mahali ya kuhifadhi samaki, hawana mahali ya kuuzia. Na pia ukiangalia pia kuna masoko tunajenga Coast Region, kuna masoko pia tunajenga ile ziwa.
Umeeleza vizuri, manake mambo mawili huwa yanajitokeza sana, ijapo kwa huyu ambaye tunamtaja kwa mfano kama mvuvi. Kwa sasa utakuta kwamba jambo moja, wanakuwa wengi na maboti yale ambayo ni ya kitambo, si ya kisasa, na vile vile tatizo kubwa limekuwa pia uhifadhi labda wa zile samaki baada ya kuvua, na pia labda hata vifaa tu vya kuvua samaki kutoka katika zile bahari. Pale katika maboti labda unatoa hakikisho kwamba yale maboti mnawapatia ni maboti ya kisasa ambayo yanaweza kustahimili, kama kwa sasa tunazungumzia masuala ya kimbunga, wakati mwingine dhoruba katika hizi bahari zetu. Maboti yenye tumewapea hiyo 123 ni maboti ya kisasa. Ni vile hazina zenye zinaweza enda kwa bahari huko ndani siku nyingi. Hiyo maboti ni ya fiberglass. Ile maboti wamekuwa kitumia ni ile ya Uden, ambayo pia iko na risk services. Yenye tunawapatia saizi iko na pia ile inaitwa AIS. AIS ni ile transponder ambayo wavuvi unaweza wa track pia na GPS. Sasa zile mvuvi maybe amepata shida huko baharini, unaweza track location yake na uweze enda kumsaidia. Pia hiyo maboti iko na sehemu ambayo iko na bit of cold storage, anaweza enda na barafu ili akivua anaweza weka pia samaki yake hapo. Ni ya kisasa. Lakini tukiendelea venye nimekueleza, kwa sababu wavuvi wanataka kuenda huko kufish deep sea, so ndio tunawapatia maboti kubwa ili waweze kufanya hiyo fishing. Yes, na tusalie pale kwa samaki, ambapo kwa sasa naona kuna bandari kubwa ya samaki eneo la Shimoni katika kaunti ya Kwale, ambao mnaishughulikia kama serikali. Mmeweka miundombinu, labda unaweza kutuambia kwa sasa shughuli nzima hiyo imefika wapi? Tayari wakulima wale wa samaki na wavuvi wameanza kufaidi kutokana na shughuli nzima hii, ama bado kidogo kuna mwendo mrefu?
Ukiangalia Shimoni ni one of the fish pot ambayo tunatengeneza. Utaangalia kuna Shimoni na pia kuna Liwatoni. Ukiangalia hizo vifaa mbili zote, kama tuende kwa Shimoni yenye umeuliza, ukiangalia Shimoni already construction imetengenezwa, ukiangalia jeti imetengenezwa ambayo maboti kikuja, hata maboti ya transport ama ya tourism kienda hapo inaweza dock. Alafu kwa facility itself iko na cold facilities. Sasa yenye imebaki, the structure iko completed, zile barabara za hiyo eneo iko completed. Sasa contractor kwa hapo anamalizia mambo ya kuweka hizo facilities, na hizo facilities ataweza kumaliza kuziweka by end of June. Baada ya end of June tutaweza work closely na county government na pia na our partners kwa Kenya Ports Authority na pia State Department for Transport, ili kusaidia wavuvi sasa na wawekezaji waweze kusaidia kufanya hiyo mambo ya uhifadhi wa samaki na pia kurun facilities za port. So Shimoni iko karibu kuisha, na nataka kuhakikishia wananchi in the next 1 month tutaweza kumaliza the facilities, equipment, na pia tumalizie ile kazi kidogo ambayo imebaki ili tuweze kusupport the fisher folk around the coast region. Na Shimoni itatumika tu na wananchi wa Kwale. Itatumika pia na wananchi wote wenye wako kwa hiyo eneo ya bahari. It's a big port. So watu wenye wako na masuala ya transport, mambo ya tourism wataweza kuenda pale Shimoni na kufanya biashara hapo. Yes.
Tatizo mara nyingi unakuta viwanda hivi labda vitaanzishwa alafu pale katikati labda vinakwama, ama wacha tumie mfano kama masoko. Utakuta kuna sehemu ambazo soko zilikamilika, mabilioni ya pesa yalitumika, lakini utakuta kwamba wale ambao wanafaa kutumia zile rasilimali ama miundo misingi hawajaingia pale kuchukua kwanza kuzitumia. Labda baada ni kukamilisha kiwanda hiki ambacho tunazungumzia katika eneo lile la Shimoni, mnatazamia kwamba labda kifunguliwa wakati gani na wataingia immediately ama itachukua tena muda?
Ukiangalia wavuvi wetu or rather the beach management units ambao tunaita BMU, tunawaunganisha kwa cooperatives. One of the reason ya kuweka kwa cooperatives ili tuweze kuwa support in terms of capacity building, wafunzwe mambo ya biashara, wafunzwe mambo ya uvuvi, wafunzwe mambo ya maeneo yote ambayo inahifadhi kwa uchumi blue. So in this aspect utaweza kuona tunafanya hii mikakati pamoja na wavuvi, tunaingisha county government pia ili tuweze kuwasiliana sisi wote, county government, national government na wavuvi. Alafu kwa zile vifaa ambazo tunaona there's a private sector investment mwenye anaweza kuja tusaidiane pamoja kurun facilities, ndio tunafanya. Ukiangalia serikali iko kwa haipaswi kufanya biashara. Serikali inapaswa kucreate hiyo conducive environment ya wananchi wetu waweze kufaidika. How do you bring in investment, public partnership kwa hii sekta yetu? That's how tuna focus. We do PPP in this project so that sasa kuna government, kuna the communities na kuna the private sector, so that to ensure sasa hizi vifaa zote tunajenga venye umeuliza vizuri zisikuwe ghost projects, zikuwe projects ambayo unaona matunda. And I'll give you an example. Kuna facility ambayo tuliweza kujenga na kukamilisha last year uko Siaya, inaitwa Randakotian. The county government pamoja na wavuvi BMU wa hiyo beach landing site waliweza come together na private investor, wakafanya an MOU of understanding. And I can tell you for a fact, hiyo facility unaweza ona wavuvi wanapata faida. Kwa hivyo ukiingisha the entrepreneur part of it, unaweza kusaidia wavuvi wengi na wananchi wengi.
Kabla tutoke hapo kwa masuala ya uvuvi na samaki, labda kidogo tuelekee katika ziwa Victoria. Na najua serikali imejizatiti kwa muda sasa kuhakikisha kwamba wale wavuvi pia wako na uwepesi wa kufanya uvuvi wao hata kama ni usiku, lakini kumekuwepo na tatizo hili la weed katika yale maji, wanaita hyacinth weed, ambayo kwa muda pia serikali imekuwa ikishughulika kuhakikisha kwamba inaondolewa. Labda unaweza kuzungumzia vipi tatizo hilo ambalo limekumba sekta ya uvuvi, sana sana kwa wavuvi ambao wako eneo la Lake Victoria kwa miaka mingi?
Ndio, kuna shida ya water hyacinth, kuna shida pia ya pollution, kuna shida pia ya breeding grounds za wavuvi. Ukiangalia hiyo yote, and we have a research institute inaitwa Kemfree. Ukizungumza na scientists ambayo wako kwa sekta yetu, watakueleza the challenges zenye zina cause the water hyacinth, zenye zina cause pollution in the lake, and hizi zote zime cause a lot of issues including fish kills. Umeona in the latest interventions kuna fish kills. Some of them pia ni climate change issues, environment. Unaona mambo ya climate change imekuwa ikitukaba sana, so those are the challenges. So kama serikali venye tunafanya, number one of course ni kueleza wavuvi kwenye wanafanya cage farming in the lake, penye wataweza kuweka their cages so that saa zile kuna any occurrence of any disturbance of the lake, hiyo samaki iwezi kufa. Number 2 yenye tunafanya ni hizo landing site na kueleza, kwa sababu saa zingine wavuvi wanapaswa kuwa na vifaa ambazo saa zile kuna hiyo challenge wanaweza kuhifadhi samaki yao. Na number 3 hiyo masuala ya water icing, the scientists wameweza kuangalia the challenges that have been caused by water icing. Na one of the things, ukiangalia water icing actually inaweza tumika kutengeneza fertilizer. So we are looking at ways of how we can be able to harvest your water icing na itumike kusaidia pia wakulima kwa fertilizer. So hizi interventions zote tunafanya together with the research institute, tuna work together with county government to ensure that the water is not polluted, because sometimes unakuta kuna challenges ya water pollution in the lake, ina create a lot of issues within the lake. Na pia tuna educate wavuvi wetu so that wajue which are the good areas for doing cage farming, because ukiangalia most of the fish kill ni wale wenye wanafanya uvuvi kwa cages. So when we are able to advise them and support them in restocking and also supporting them in putting the cages in the right places, inasaidia. Na pia kujibu kama serikali tunajenga ile center inaitwa Kabonyo Kanyagwal at 1.3 billion. Hiyo center ni ya kusaidia kutengeneza fingerlings. Hiyo fingerlings or rather the seed tutaweza kutengeneza at least 7 million fingerlings kwa per quarter. Hii itasaidia pia wavuvi in the restocking of the lake na pia in the protection of also the breeding ground, so that wavuvi wasiende kuvua saa zile kuna ile area iko na kuna uzazi wa samaki. So those are the things tunafanya. Na pia ya mwisho ni kuwapatia the right nets. Some of the challenges wana face, wanatumia the wrong nets, na pia unasikia wana complain hizi nets zina haribu bahari, zinachukua samaki wadogo. So tunawa support ku educate in the right nets so that at least tuweze ku sustain our lake.
Kwa hivyo mnaeleza kuhusu neti nzuri, lakini pia mnawapa hizo neti. Wanaweza tuambia ndio wametuambia, lakini mnawapa hizo neti.
Kesho tufuate Homa Bay.
Nitakuwa na Homa Bay, nitafuatilia kuona kama hizo neti.
Kupeana net. Support wavuvi wenyewe tumework nao pamoja in the support of conservation ya using the right nets. Yes.
Na pale kuna mingi yanajitokeza kuhusiana na masuala ya uvuvi. Kuna tatizo lile umezungumzia masuala ya pollution, ndio. Kuna tatizo la uvuaji wa samaki kupita kiasi. Inafika wakati tunaambiwa kwamba sasa samaki hawapo. Wale hata tunapenda kuwaita kwa lugha ya nyumbani Kisumu boys, wale omena pia hatuwezi kuwapata, na hichi chakula ambacho tunakipenda sana. Labda kama idara ni yapi ambao mnafanya kuhakikisha kwamba angalau kwamba hatutakuwa na wakati tunasema sasa hatuna samaki, hatuna omena, kwamba kuna ule uendelevu, you know, sustainability katika masuala ya uvuvi kila wakati kwamba kuna samaki.
Umesema ukweli. Ukiangalia issue ya sustainability lazima tuweze kusaidiana pamoja kama na wavuvi na serikali zote mbili ya county na national government. Na one of the interventions tunafanya ili kuensure tumeprotect hizo breeding grounds za omena, za tilapia na elpach ni kuwa support na pia cage farming ama aquaculture. Serikali yetu tumeweza kutenga shilingi milioni 359 ambayo tuna support wavuvi na cages, 109 cages across the 5 riparian counties. Hata kesho Homa Bay, ukikuja Homa Bay utaona tunapatia vikundi za wavuvi or rather BMUs around 15 cages in Homa Bay County. These cages tutaweza kuwapatia alternative solution ya kufanya uvuvi. Ili mvuvi si kila saa anafanya ile uvuvi ya capture. Unajua ukipatia mvuvi, huwezi ambia mvuvi usifanye uvuvi ama usiende baharini na umpatie alternative. Alafu atakula nini nyumbani, atauza nini, atatengeneza vipi pesa? Kwa hivyo unampatia alternative solution. So vile tunafanya, tuna work na BMUs so that tuwapatie alternative ways of doing fish farming or rather uchumi samawati. Alafu unawaeleza during this period we can be able to focus na cage farming so that at least we are also able to protect the breeding grounds na pia ensure that the stocks are not dwindling venye umesema. Ya pili ni hiyo nimekueleza ya Kabonyo. This facility ambayo tutaweza kusaidia wavuvi kusoma masuala ya bahari, masuala ya uvuvi, pia ina support na hiyo program ya fingerlings. So all this we are giving the fisher folk, na hii package tunapatia cages, tuwapatie chakula hawa samaki, na pia tuwapatie fingerlings. So those are some of the interventions tunajaribu kufanya kama serikali ili kuwasaidia wavuvi. Ili usiwafukuze bahari, lakini wapatie alternative. Wavuvi wanataka kupatiwa solution. Si kuambia usivue lakini hakuna solution. As government we are doing that.
Umeeleza vizuri, manake mara nyingi wanaambiwa wasivue na hawajaambiwa watafanya nini, na ilhali hilo ndilo wanategemea katika maisha yao ya kila siku. Na kuruhusu unywe maji, msikilizaji na mtazamaji, unasikiliza Gumzo Pevu kupitia Channel 1 na vile vile Radio Taifa. Leo tunaangazia masuala ya uchumi samawati, na tayari umepata maelekezo kuhusiana na swala zima la uchumi samawati, masuala ya uvuvi na masuala mengine mbalimbali. Na hapa studioni tunaye katibu katika idara ya uchumi samawati na vile vile uvuvi, Bi Betsy Njagi, ambaye anatusaidia kuelewa basi uchumi hii samawati unatusaidia vipi kama taifa, hatua zipi tumepiga. Na labda wewe ni mvuvi pale nje, una swali lako ambalo ungependa lijibiwe, labda ukatoka eneo la Kwale, uko kule Lake Victoria, maeneo mbalimbali ambayo kuna vyombo vya maji, tunasema una swali lako liweke kwenye mitandao, tutaweza kuliangazia, itakuwa sawa. Turejee kwako Bi Betsy Njagi. Na kuna kilimo cha mwani ama tunaita seaweed sana sana katika maeneo yale ya pwani, na tumeona wakazi wengi wa pwani wakielekea upande huo sana, wakiweza kukumbatia kilimo hiki cha seaweed. Labda kama serikali, sijui mnachukulia uzito upi kilimo hiki cha seaweed, ama ni tunaweza kusema labda katika kiwango kidogo tu ambacho kwa sasa ukulima huu unafanyika, na uzito mnauweka kivipi kuhakikisha kwamba wale ambao pia wanafanya ukulima huu wanafaidi kutokana na mapato?
Asante sana. Ukiangalia kilimo ya seaweed venye umesema, iko eneo sana ya Kwale, Kibuyuni to be more specific. Na pia kuna eneo ingine Lamu, wamama wanajaribu kufanya seaweed farming. Ukiangalia hizo groups, ni groups around 11 ya wamama. Na niko na furaha sana. Nimetembea hapo, nimekaa na wamama, wanafanya kazi mzuri sana ya seaweed farming. Lakini tuna need ku-elevate ili seaweed iweze sasa kuleta manufaa kwa maisha yao. Sasa vile tumefanya kama serikali, tumewekea a market hapo Kibuyuni, seaweed market, ambao wataweza sasa kudry the seaweed, kufanya value addition, na wanafanya a lot of value addition. Wanatengeneza sabuni, wanatengeneza lotion, wanatengeneza shampoo. Sasa mama tumeweka kwa vikundi. Pia tunawa convert to cooperatives ili tuweze sasa kuwa entrepreneurs. Na hii seaweed tunajaribu pia work with various governments and various international facilities kama Indonesia pale Zanzibar, ambayo seaweed farming ni kubwa sana huko, ili tuweze kuwa link up na such entrepreneurs so that wakifanya drying of the seaweed waweze kuipackage vizuri na waweze kufanya value addition. Hiyo value addition wanafanya, wako na sasa KEBS certificate ya kufanya hiyo value addition, and then they can be able to support each other in that group. So hao mama wamejipanga vizuri. I'm very proud of the ladies. Na sasa pia because tumeona we can do seaweed farming in Lamu, pia tunataka kuendeleza sasa hiyo Lamu. Tume-identify 2 locations in Lamu ambayo tutaweza kusupport the groups there in seaweed farming.
Sijawahi kuelewa kwa nini ni akina mama tunaona sana katika hii seaweed farming. sana asilimia kubwa, asilimia nafikiri karibu 90-80 kwa nini ni akina mama?
Unajua, I think wase labda wanaona hiyo, wana prefer kwenda kwa bahari kwenye kuna strong winds. Lakini because kwa seaweed ina involve a lot of intervention, na wamama pia wametu request to support them with hizo boats, fiber boats, because wanaenda kwa wanafarm the seaweed with ropes. So we will support them with the gears, with the ropes and everything wenye wanahitaji kwenda kufanya seaweed farming. Lakini pia tuna encourage vijana, kuna few who are doing it, but tuna encourage because ni biashara ambayo iko na manufaa sana. Yes.
Wakati unazungumza na wake na mama sasa katika county ya Kwale ambao wanafanya hiki kilimo cha mwani ama seaweed, labda wanasema changamoto zao ni zipi na ni kipi ambacho wangependa kuona kitendeka? Na kando na hayo pia tusaidie kuelewa kama hadi kufikia sasa kilimo hiki tayari kimeanza kuchangia katika hili pato ambalo tunazungumzia cha shilingi bilioni 37.6 ambacho mnafaa kuongeza hadi shilingi bilioni 120 ifikiapo mwaka 2026.
Ukizungumza nao mama, kwa sababu tumekutana nao, changamoto nyingi venye nakwambia ni vifaa za kwenda at least deep kufanya seaweed farming at least deeper in the sea. Wanahitaji maboti. Ya pili wanahitaji market, kwa sababu markets zingine iko a bit local, na pia wanahitaji training ya kukua entrepreneur. How do they make this seaweed and change it into an entrepreneur skill. So those are the challenges na ndio tunajaribu kuaddress now. Na one of the things walikuwa nataka sana ni market, soko ambayo wataweza kudry hiyo seaweed waweze kuuza, na hiyo ndio tumewajengea na imeisha. Sasa in the next few months tutaweza kuenda hapo na kupatia our mama wa partnership na maybe private sector na county government ili waweze kupanga hiyo seaweed na pia kuipackage na pia kufanya value addition. Na pia venye umesema some of the challenges tuko nazo kwa hiyo sector ni ile tu ku market the seaweed farming. We are only doing 2 species. Ukiangalia kwa the seaweed fraternity ama research yenye imefanywa across the world, there are 4 species. So one of the reasons and interventions tunafanya ni kufanya kazi na pia the research institutions ili tuweze kuona how do we grow now these other 2 species so that to widen the scope. Alafu tutaweza kusaidia wananchi wetu. Na pia yes, umesema ukweli, seaweed ina contribute to the 37 billion ambayo tumeweza kutengeneza in the last financial year, but in a very small percentage. So that's why tuna need to grow the sector. That's why tunaingia Lamu ili tuweze ku grow that sector so that we can make it a more recruitive and also ensure tufanye value addition. Value addition ndio inafanya pia bei ya seaweed ipande juu. So tukiweza kufanya hizo vitu zote na hizo group zote na tuziweke into cooperatives, tutaweza kusongesha seaweed into the next level.
Naam. Shukrani sana kwa hilo, na kwa sababu umegusia tayari masuala ya soko. Na kama kuna kwa pia tatizo moja sana sana hapa nchini, utakuta kwamba wakulima wamejizatiti, labda kwa sasa wavuvi wamejikaza, hawa wakulima wetu wa seaweed akina mama wamejikaza. Tatizo linakuja kuwa soko hapa nchini vile vile na katika mataifa ya nje. Kwa sasa labda hakikisho gani unaweza kusema mmeweka kama tunalo chochote cha kujivunia na kusema kwamba kuna soko labda katika swala hili, katika uvuvi, katika wakulima wa upande wa Kwale, wale wa Lake Victoria na mambo kama yale? Tuzungumzie masuala ya soko.
Ukiangalia consumption ya samaki or other fish and fisheries products in Kenya, our target ni 10 kilograms per capita. Tuko 4 kilograms per capita. So hata we cannot even sustain feeding our own country. So the demand for fish na products of fish iko juu sana. Hata tujafikisha 50%. Fona tena tujafikisha hata 50%. And that's why kama serikali tunaleta these new interventions kama hizo na kueleza za cage farming in the lake. Kuna pia hiyo tunafanya pia marine. Kasa hizo ukienda in the Indian Ocean region, utakuta sasa tunafanya uvuvi wa shrimp ya culture. Kuna pia marine tilapia. Unajua kuna tilapia marine waters ya salty water. So pia kuna rabbit fish, kuna many other species zenye tumefanya research na pia wavuvi wanaweza sasa kufanya farming ya hiyo. So that's how we are increasing this. Alafu pia so that we support our communities, tunajenga masoko. Nimekueleza Coast Region tunajenga Likoni, in Mombasa tunajenga Malindi Market in Malindi, in Kilifi County, na pia hiyo Kibuyuni nimekueleza wamama wenye wanafanya seaweed farming. Alafu ukiangalia kama Homa Bay, unaona kuna hiyo soko kubwa ya Homa Bay Fish Market ambayo sasa inajengwa na imekamilika. Rais ataweza kuizindua on Friday. So those are the interventions ambayo tunajaribu kusaidia pia wamama na wavuvi ili waweze kufanya facility na pia waweze kuuza bidhaa zao. Alafu pia kama serikali sasa tuna market our products pia. We have an institution inaitwa Fish Marketing Authority. Kazi yake ni kuensure wame market the products at the region, at the local level na pia international. So that at least watu wetu waweze kujua kuna this kind of species in our waters. So all that tuna put interventions in place to ensure inafanya.
Umesema vizuri mpaka umezungumzia masuala ya Fish Marketing Authority. Nikitembea maeneo sana sana ya Nyanza nimekuta kwamba pia vipo vyuo ambavyo tayari vimeanza kosi ya masuala ya aquaculture, kuhakikisha kwamba pia katika uzalishaji wa masuala kama ama samaki na species mbalimbali ulivyosema inawezekana. Na vile vile tumeona katika vyuo hivyo utakuta kwamba pia kuna ile inaitwa exchange program. Wataenda kwa mataifa mengine kujifunza jinsi mambo haya yanafanyika ijapo katika masuala ya uvuvi. Labda kwa sasa unaweza kusema kwamba tayari umetaja hatuna samaki ya kutosha. We don't produce enough.
Yes.
So kuna samaki ambao tuna export?
Yes, of course. Kuna species zenye hazipatikani huku kama salmon. Salmon it's not grown in Kenyan waters. iko maybe Norway and those kind of countries. Kuna mackerel, kuna there are demand of some species zenye are to grow in Kenya ama ziko kwa Kenyan waters. Yes, we bring them to the country.
Kwa ile yetu kwa sasa, kwa ile ambayo tunazalisha sisi. Ulisema hatuzalishi ya kutosha. Kwa sasa je, samaki wetu wanapelekwa katika soko za nje?
Absolutely. Kwa import ndio nilikuwa nasema salmon. Importations ya samaki yenye zinakuja ni kama salmon and all that. Lakini sasa yenye tuna export all the species kuanzia hizo Nile perch, ukiangalia tilapia tunafanya exportation, ukiangalia all the species in the Indian Ocean, tuna like species, ukiangalia hizo crustacean na crab, shrimps, na hizo zote tunafanya export. There's a very big demand out there in European countries, in Asia countries, and hiyo yote ina contribute to also to the revenue growth in the country. So we do a lot of export of our fish and fisheries products. Ni vile Wakenya saa zingine sijui kwa nini hawapendi samaki.
Tunapenda samaki tayari. Mheshimiwa mwenyewe umesema samaki wenyewe hawatoshi, wale ambao wanazalishwa hapa nchini. Lakini pia hata kwa wale ambao wanapenda, pia kuna wale watazungumzia bei hata hapa nchini. Kwa mfano, mtu ambaye atakula samaki Nairobi atakwambia kwamba Nairobi samaki bei yake iko chini kuliko mtu ambaye ataenda kwa mfano kule Dunga Beach aenda kula samaki huko. Sijui kwa nini masuala ya bei yanakuwa hivyo.
And that's why nasema hii Fish Marketing Authority kazi yake sasa ni kuregulate price. Na one of the things tunafanya ni hiyo kuleta the BMU units pamoja. Wakikuja pamoja, tunaweza sasa kupanga mikakati ambayo tunasema bei ya tilapia ni bei ya exportation, ni bei ya maybe tuseme tuna ni all that. Hiyo ndio essence ya kubring now the marketing authority ili iweze kusaidia wavuvi. Na wavuvi wetu already we have 450 BMUs across the country with membership of over 100,000. Sasa wote tunakusanyisha pamoja ili tukue na one cooperative ambayo wanaweza kudictate the terms, hata pia kuweza kujiendeleza kimaisha.
Tumezungumzia sana Pwani, tumezungumzia Nyanza japo katika masuala ya uvuvi, lakini hebu taje eneo kama kaunti ya Turkana ambapo tuna Lake Turkana ambayo huko samaki huko ni watamu tena sana na ni wazuri. Sijui ni kipi ambacho labda kwa wale ambao ni wavuvi wanafanya kilimo cha samaki katika kaunti ya Turkana, vipi pia mnasaidia kuwawezesha kuhakikisha kwamba samaki, manake samaki huko tofauti kidogo, pia wanapata pia soko sio tu labda nje ama atakufika kutoka huko kuja Nairobi kwa wale ambao wanapenda samaki. Tuzungumzie watu wa kaunti ya Turkana.
Ndio, ukiangalia soko ama wananchi wa Lake Turkana ambayo ni Turkana County na Marsabit, kuna species ya samaki ambayo inaitwa mango tilapia ambayo in the West African countries it's on very high demand. Hiyo samaki inakuwa dried and they like it dried. So one of the things the community wanafanya ni kudry hiyo samaki na pia kuexport to the various countries in the West region, specifically hata DRC Congo. So vile tunafanya kama serikali, tunaweka soko mbili hapo ya samaki. Moja itakuwa Kalkol na ingine Langwalen. I hope nimeipronounce vizuri. So hizo soko mbili ambayo tunapaswa kuwa na contractor soon itasaidia wavuvi wa the two counties because hiyo ziwa ina border Marsabit na Turkana County. The other interventions tunafanya pia kwa Lake Turkana ni pia kufanya kazi na some of the development partners. Tunafanya karibu sana na WFP na pia the Kingdom of Netherlands kuwekeza pesa ambayo itaweza kusaidia wavuvi hapo in capacity build na pia kujenga other cold storage facilities na kuwapatia vifaa za kufanya uvuvi huko. Na pia tumeweza kuwa support pia na boats ambazo zitawasaidia in patrol. Tumewapatia patrol boat ambayo saa zile wanaenda kufanya uvuvi wanaweza kupata any support in case there's any challenges ama kuna any accident, and those are the interventions tunafanya. Kwa hivyo hatujasahau Lake Turkana. Pia tuko na mipango ya Lake Baringo. Na pia Lake Naivasha.
Naam. Asante sana. Kabla tuchukue labda simu chache kutoka kwa watazamaji na wasikilizaji, na kuna mataifa ambayo tayari umeyataja, na ningependa kuelewa sana ushirikiano wa Kenya na mataifa kama vile Uchina na vile vile mataifa kama vile ya EU. Mnafanya vipi kazi sana sana ijapo katika masuala ya kuhakikisha kwamba ndio tuna soko, lakini pia kuna swala la kuvutia uwekezaji zaidi hapa nchini. Vipi mnashirikiana na mataifa mengine kama Kenya katika masuala ya uchumi samawati kuhakikisha kwamba pia ndio mwananchi anafaidi, yule ambaye yuko pale baharini anafaidi, lakini pia kuna pato la taifa ama kuchangia katika ile ambayo tumetaja GDP.
Ukiangalia maeneo kama hiyo ya China, juzi rais wetu alikuwa China Na uliona one of the MOUs aliweza kusign ni ya Blue Economy MOU pamoja na serikali ya China ya commerce. So hiyo inasaidia pia in terms of biashara, in terms of investment, in terms of support. So tuko na MOU na serikali ya China ambayo inasaidia pia mambo ya blue economy in fisheries products, training, capacity building, research, hiyo yote. Pia ukiangalia EU we signed the economic agreement, the EPA agreement sometime last year July, na ikapitishwa na bunge letu. One of the items kwa hiyo agreement ni masuala ya uchumi samawati na uvuvi kwa sections ambazo ni 4. Sasa vile tumefanya pamoja na EU countries, tunapanga ile inaitwa Sustainable Fisheries Plan. Hii plan ina support in all those aspects ya research, mambo ya investment, mambo ya uchumi samawati in various regions, kwa sababu we need these partnerships and we need this support because the biggest market ya hiyo marine fish ni EU market na China. So these agreements ambayo tumesign ndio zinasaidia sasa kuweza create trade na pia kufacilitate support. Ukiangalia kama EU tumepata support across the coastal region, a project inaitwa Go Blue ambayo iliisha the other day. Hiyo Go Blue project imesaidia wavuvi across the 5 counties, imeweza kutupatia pia search and rescue boats ambazo zina support the blue economy space. Tuna work pamoja ku come up with the strategic plan ya blue economy and many other interventions. So hizi agreements ambayo tumesign ndizo sasa zinaweza kusaidia hiyo relationship between the two countries and to elevate the sector. Yes.
Mara nyingi rais ataenda nje kama vile umesema alikuwa China juzi, mikataba itatiwa saini, alafu mwananchi sasa ubaki pale ilikuwa imetiwa saini kwa karatasi. Sasa wanataka kuona utekelezaji wake kama kufuatiliwa. Labda mkataba kama utuzungumzie mambo ya uchumi samawati kama China kwa mfano, kulikuwa na ile tunaita timelines kwa muda fulani, labda hivi ndivyo Kenya na China watafanya kazi pamoja kuhakikisha uboreshaji wa uchumi samawati.
I'll give you an example. Kuna kampuni moja ambayo iko Kwale wana export anchovies in China. Hiyo imefanyika kwa sababu ya MOU. Wana biashara wanaweza kuja sasa Kenya, wana set up a factory, tunawapatia license, wana work with their communities, they employ our communities and we create jobs employment. Kwa hivyo kwa sekta yetu, MOU ikisainiwa tukali tunaifanyia kazi. Hii ingine nimekueleza ya EU after the EPA agreement. Sasa tunafanya sustainable partnership agreement. Hiyo agreement sasa inaweza kuleta pesa Kenya ambayo tutaweza kusupport the economy of blue economy. So hiyo yote sisi hatujaketi.
Na wakati pia hii mikataba inawekwa, mnafanya nini kuhakikisha labda haiji na ikawork to our disadvantage? Niruhusu kutumia hilo neno. Kwa mfano, upo wakati kulikuwa na kelele mingi sana kuhusiana na samaki kutoka China. Ikawa kwamba sasa Kenya tuna samaki, lakini samaki ambao wamejaa sokoni samaki kutoka katika nchi ambayo ni China. Nimetumia China kwa sababu tayari umetaja kwamba kuna mikataba ambayo ilitiwa saini huko. Wakati mikataba hii ndio inawekwa saini, tunafanyaje kuhakikisha kwamba pia inafanya kwa wema wa Mkenya na pia hatupotezi ule uhalisia wa kile ambacho sisi tunazalisha kama taifa?
Ndio ukiangalia mambo kama ya tilapia, the tilapia in the lake region, Wakenya wengi wanafanya fish farming ya tilapia na pia kwa the lake na pia kwa land. There are so many farmers wanafanya commercial farming. Si fair kuleta samaki ambayo ni tilapia, lakini tunaweza pia fanya ukuzaji wa samaki kama yeye nimekueleza anchovies na kupeleka China. So ukifanya hii mkakati ama ukifanya hii MOU of understanding, unaangalia the elements yenye mnaweza complement each other as a country. What can we complement each other with? We can complement each other in research, in matters ya security and matters ya IUU fishing. Unaangalia what suits for us and also what we can be able to support each other. Kwa sababu at the end of the day, kama serikali lazima uweze ku protect the rights of our people, the rights of our fisher folk. So as government tunaangalia mikakati ambayo ina manufaa kwa wananchi wetu. Na hiyo ndio tunaweka sahihi kwa hiyo. Kwa hivyo si unasema ati tutaleta samaki hapa kutoka China ama nini. Ni ile tunaensure whatever we are doing, it's for the interest of our people.
Naam. Shukrani. Ningependa tuende upande wa pili tupokee simu chache. Upande wa pili wa studio, msikilizaji na mtazamaji pia unaweza kutuma kauli zako kupitia mitandao yetu ya kijamii kama una swali ama pia una pendekezo ama jambo ambalo umeliona sana huko katika sekta hii ya uchumi samawati. Basi tunaye katibu kutoka idara ya uchumi samawati na uvuvi Bi Betsy Njagi tukiangazia swala zima la uchumi samawati. Labda nitaomba valie hivi upande wa pili Rashid.
Naam, asante sana Dora. Kwa hivi sasa msikilizaji, ni saa 3 bado dakika 15 saa za kanda ya Afrika Mashariki. Mengi yamezungumzwa msikilizaji, ni wewe tu sasa kuweza kuuliza swali lako kwa katibu ambaye yuko ndani ya studio kuhusiana na hoja ambazo amezizungumza. Mumetaja kwetu Likoni nikasikia raha sana. 0700176699 ndo nambari zetu za moja kwa moja hewani. Hello Zinga.
Hello KBC. Ya, unaongea na Ibrahim Owino.
Swali lako Ibrahim Owino.
Swali yangu ni kimoja tu. Habari mheshimiwa.
Mzuri mheshimiwa, nakusikia. Hello, habari Ibrahim.
Na samawati. Kweli umeongea vizuri zaidi, inatakikana uchumi wa Kenya iwe itutekeleze.
Asante sana Ibrahim.
Kuna mkuti mahali tangu enzi ya Kibaki. Je, hapa mtasaidia namna gani upande wa Migingo? Tunateseka sana Migingo. Hatujui Migingo hicho iko nchi ya Kenya, iko nchi ya Uganda.
Asante, swali lako litajibiwa. Hello Zinga.
Hello KBC Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya.
Oh yes sir.
Naongea na balozi ya Mkoje kutoka Namanga mpakani hapa. Msalimie mgeni hapo.
Amesalimika.
Nimesalimika.
Swali langu mimi kama balozi ya Mkoje ni kwamba kuna sisi wavuvi wakulima wadogo wa samaki ambaye tunataka kuvuga wale samaki wa kwenye vidimbwi. Je, wanafanya mikakati gani kuhakikisha mahali kama Namanga tumepata hizo za kuweza kufuga hao samaki? Balozi ya Mkoje kutoka Namanga.
Asante. Hello Zinga.
Hello Rashidi, habari yako?
Mzuri sana ndugu.
Huyu ndani Longoma.
Karibu sana.
Nataka kuuliza mgeni. Anakili na leki peke yake ama pia tuko na wafuvu wengine kwa mariva? Unaweza kusaidiwa namna gani ama unaweza kuwasaidiaje hao?
Asante. Swali la mwisho. Hello Zinga.
Papa Rashidi.
Yes sir.
Jambo bwana.
Si jambo ndugu yangu.
Salama sana, mwenyekiti Ibeba huyu.
Karibu sana.
Salamia mkurugenzi huyo.
Huyu ni katibu.
Katibu, msalimie katibu, habari za kwako?
Nasalimika, asante.
Sasa mimi nauliza hivi.
Ndio.
Ndio papa.
Yes.
Nauliza hivi, ameongea mambo ya samaki na hawa samaki wa Dakar wana soko kweli? Maana tunaona anasema tu pia na wale wengine hawa Dakar wana soko.
Haya, Dora aliliuliza hilo swala la omena. Haya Dora, kwako.
Haya. Shukran sana mwenzangu Rashid upande wa pili na msikilizaji na mtazamaji kwa maswali yenu, na naam, tunaweza kuendelea. Ni sawa katibu, sasa unaweza ukatulia. Sawa. Kidogo naambiwa kwa sekunde chache tu, kidogo pumziko fupi. Naomba katibu la sekunde ama dakika moja hivi, alafu turejee kujibu maswali yenu. Waelekezi, naomba pumziko la dakika moja. Alafu tunarejea.
Wapi?
Bangladesh mheshimiwa.
Bangladesh ni India ama ni?
Sio India, hapa hivi Longai mheshimiwa. KWS.
Ndio.
Umeshawahi kuliwa?
Na nani? Kuliwa na nani? Kuliwa na nani?
Na fisi.
Na nini?
Na fisi.
Bado sijakuliwa na fisi.
Bado. First of all, you have said you are a terrorist.
Papa
Mheshimiwa Maki hiyo amesema hapa mko kwa hatari saa hii.
Sikiza. Amesema yeye ni tourist.
How do you run when the hyena is just there? How can you run?
Si uongee lugha ile utaelewa. Sasa hii kizungu unangangana na
tunaelewana kisungu.
Hakuna kitu tunaelewana.
Kwa nini wakati fisi nimeua fisi ndio mnakuja kunishika? Why?
Hao ni wadudu ambao wanapatikana kwa uchafu. Fisi ni mnyama ambaye analindwa na sheria.
So mimi ni mchafu. You want me to say mimi ni mchafu? Baby face kama mimi ni mchafu.
Angalia nywele yako kwa pasi.
Hiyo sura yako imekunjana ni baby face.
dash 00100.
sana na uzalishaji wa dagaa. Alafu kuna swali muhimu sana, wale wakulima ama wavuvi ambao wanataka kufanya shughuli nzima hii lakini kupitia dams na ponds, mnawasaidia vipi? Alafu tumalize na Madaraka.
Yes. Asante sana kwa maswali kutoka Ibrahim Balozi na pia Zinga. Ya kwanza ni kusema maswala ya vidimbwi ambayo ni dams. Kama serikali tumetengeneza a document inaitwa stock assessment ya dams. So tumeweza kufanya assessment ya all the dams in Kenya so that tuweze put a plan in place ya kuweza kusaidia wavuvi in dams, along the dams. Na hii package itaweza of course support na fingerlings, support na chakula na pia facilities ambao wanaweza kuuzia hiyo samaki. Ya pili, ukiangalia rivers venye nilianza, rivers ni part of blue economy. Na pia tuko na program ambayo ya aquaculture ambayo tuna support pia wavuvi ambao wako along the rivers, wako in their own region kama Mount Kenya region, Central region, na chakula pia fingerlings ili waweze kufanya masuala ya samaki. Kwa hivyo we are not looking at it only kwa counties ambazo ziko na maziwa na ocean. Tunaangalia pia hizi counties zingine ambazo watu wako interested na fish farming. Na pia nimesema about the facilities ambazo tuko nazo Kabonyo yenye itaweza kufunza wavuvi. Kuna pia ile iko Kirinyaga County ambayo iko Sagana na pia ingine iko Shimoni Kwale. So all these interventions kama serikali ndio tunaweza kusupport wavuvi nayo.
Naam. Na kwa kumalizia kauli mbiu ya mwaka huu kwenye sherehe za Madaraka, najua siku ya Jumapili ni kuhusiana na masuala ya uchumi samawati na masuala ya baharini. Katika kauli mbiu hii na katika this spirit, Wakenya watarajia nini katika sherehe za Madaraka?
Wakenya wanatarajia kuelewa zaidi uchumi samawati. Hapo awali tulikuwa tunazungumzia masuala ya uvuvi peke yake. Saizi tuko na masuala nyingi ya uchumi samawati ambayo nimesema hapo awali kama tourism, kuna maritime transport, kuna masuala pia ya mining within the blue economy space. So na wakaribisha wa Kenya kuanzia kesho Homa Bay wakuje Homa Bay County hapo Tom Mboya University. Tutakuwa na 3 days ambayo tutaweza kuzungumzia masuala ya uchumi samawati, masuala ya uvuvi, masuala ya bahari. Wakuje hapo for the 3 days. Alafu hapo tarehe 1 ambayo umesema Madaraka Day celebrations zitakuwa kuhusu blue economy and maritime affairs. Kwa hivyo nawakaribisha Wakenya watufuate kwa mitandao, watufuate kwa KBC Channel 1 ambayo mtakuwa mkibroadcast live in the event for the 3 days, na pia kwa the initial day, the first day of blue economy activity theme on 28th tomorrow to 30th, na pia tarehe 1. Na pia rais wetu atakuwa kuzunguka hizo eneo zote za Homa Bay, Migori County and other regions ili kuangalia masuala ya uchumi samawati. Pia waziri wetu Asanjo tutazunguka naye pia hizo eneo zote kuangalia masuala ya uchumi samawati. Kwa hivyo karibuni sana na Mwenyezi Mungu awabariki.
Naam, kwa sababu ya muda na najua kwamba katibu anahitajika mahali haraka upesi, sitaweza kuendeleza kupita hapo. Na najua umenivumilia sana kwa sababu una majukumu mbalimbali. Mtazamaji na msikilizaji, muda hautaturuhusu. Nilikuwa nimeambiwa kidogo useme jambo kwa Kiingereza kwa dakika moja kuhusiana na kile ambacho mnafanya. Lakini najua kwamba umeniomba ruhusa.
Ndio.
Asante.
Nitarudi tena.
Katibu ameomba ruhusa kwa sababu ambazo haziwezi kuepukika. Kwa hivyo mtazamaji na msikilizaji, tunakomea pale. Tumezungumzia uchumi samawati na katibu katika idara ya uchumi samawati na vile vile masuala ya uvuvi Bi Betsy Njagi, na utapata mengi zaidi kuhusu uchumi samawati katika sherehe za Madaraka, na amekukaribisha kuanzia siku ya kesho katika kaunti ya Homa Bay. Usikose kufika pale. Mengi tena zaidi utapata kuyafahamu na bila shaka itakuwa vizuri. Kwa niaba wote ambao wameshirikisha makala haya na vile vile waelekezi wangu Chisaka, Nancy na muona pia wa Moi, wapiga picha mko kwa sana. Jeff alisema nisikose kumtaja Mato na wengine. Tafadhali naomba sana msamaha kwa mandakomea hapo kwa sasa. Turejea upande wa pili wa studio.
Masikio yote nchini sasa yanaelekezwa kwenye Radio Taifa.
This is a Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Migwe, and now we shift gears and talk matters health. And today we are talking about the aspect of dealing with bipolar disorder. Even that in 2021 there was a study that indicated that over 46 million people globally were diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and also the prevalence in males and females was almost at the same point, given that it stood at 2.9% and 2.8% respectively, which now calls the idea of the prevalence of mental disorders calls for integrated mental health in primary healthcare. That forms the basis of a conversation today that centers on dealing with bipolar disorder. Donald Okumu is a psychologist and joins us to talk about this topic. Welcome to the program. And also Samuel Ochieng, who is an advocate of the High Court and also founder of Serene Minds Organization, and also Serene Minds Organization, and he is also a bipolar 1 disorder champion. Karibu sana to the program.
Asante. Thanks.
Let's get this show on the road. And Donald, I will start with you. From a professional perspective, what is bipolar disorder? When you talk about bipolar disorder, what are we talking about?
When we're talking about bipolar disorder, bi means two. So it means having shifts in mood, having very high highs and very low lows. What I mean by that in clinical terms is we can have what we call mania, or mania, what we refer to in other terms as elation in mood, whereby somebody becomes grandiose,
yes,
or improves their sense of self, goes very high.
Yes.
Somebody gets what we call indiscretion or goal-oriented behavior, where somebody becomes impulsive, they become hyperactive, they become maybe hypersexual, they engage in spending sprees, impulse buying and things like that. At some point, somebody has a very high amount of energy, whereby you'd realize somebody needs just a little sleep and they're okay. Their energy levels are so high. That in diagnostic terms, or for it to meet a diagnostic threshold, should last for at least 1 week or any duration that would require hospitalization. Then somebody again would experience without any trigger depressive episodes. So depressive episodes where sleep increases or decreases, somebody loses interest in doing things, somebody becomes guilty, they start to question their worth, they feel worthless, hopeless, they feel low, they feel they are nothing, they feel like nothing can really come to save their situation and things like that. So you'd realize that when this happens, somebody can go to the extremes of experiencing suicidal ideation. And then at this point, there is no external trigger or what we refer to as an external stimulus. So they just feel that low moment. And this should last at least 2 weeks. Yes, for it to be considered as bipolar. Then again, there are different classes or different categories of bipolar. There is bipolar type 1 disorder, which will involve experiencing of full-blown mania or the increase in energy. And somebody will experience this followed with a duration of depression or a depressive episode out of what I've just demonstrated. Then once that happens, you'd also realize that somebody with a different type of bipolar that we refer to as bipolar 2 would experience full-blown depression and moments of hypomania. I did not say what hypomania is, but hypomania is now at the less severe symptoms of mania. Somebody experiences mania, but not at the full-blown degree.
So the classification depends on, is based on severity of it?
Not necessarily, but the symptomatology. Yes, but then what is standard for both of them is the cyclic mode of mood fluctuation. So there is mood fluctuation for both of them.
Samuel, you are a champion of bipolar 1 disorder, and you experienced it, you went through it. Take us through the journey.
Yes. Well, I grew up in the slums of Mudhurwa. That's where I was brought up by my mom. My dad passed away when I was in high school.
Yes.
So, well, as a kid, I used to be sometimes, like my classmates didn't used to understand me because I was an extreme noise maker. And in class, in primary school, and sometimes I'm composing music, even in class, and disturbing the peace of students. They didn't understand me when I was in primary school. And at times I'm withdrawn, I'm depressed. I withdraw from people, people begging me to talk to them. And they people, basically in primary school, people didn't understand me at all. And in high school, the same. So I was a musician in the year 2000, a gospel artist in Kenya. So what happens is that the stress, you know, those days there were not many musicians in Kenya who were singing gospel. We were like the pioneers. So I used to attend even 5 concerts in a day.
One day?
Yeah, you sing here, you go there, you sing. Unapewa 500 hapo. I told God bless you, and we move on. And that time you have composed a song with 20,000. But that was life then. But the stress caused the bipolar. Bipolar is something that you're born with. It's in the blood. It waits for a particular point in your life to manifest with a trigger. So what triggered is this stress that I was experiencing as a musician, like having many concerts at a go. So this triggered the bipolar to manifest, and I became manic, extreme manic, because now I thought I used to have, like you were saying, grandiosity. Suddenly I felt I was a prophet sent by God to deliver Kenya out of misery, and especially at night, sometimes even at 2 a.m. Now, as he has explained, in mania, there's decreased need of sleep. So sometimes I wake up at 2 a.m. and walk to town that I'm going to preach. Now I was a religious man, so that I'm going to preach to people. disturbing the peace of the people at night, especially the ladies of the night, the prostitutes along Koinange Street. I used to go disturb them, that I want to preach to them, for them to come out of the streets.
Yeah.
And my mother and my brother noticed that there is something fundamentally wrong with me.
Yes.
So they contacted a psychiatrist who said that I should be brought to the hospital. But the conundrum was that I felt I was well, that I had no need of going to a psychiatric hospital. So, but this mania increased, and I became psychotic.
Yeah.
In manic episode of bipolar, you can experience hallucinations. You can experience delusions and paranoia. So hallucinations, you hear voices, you smell things that are not in existence. So I could hear voices, talk up, I enda town, ubiria watu, you know, such like things. And delusions, so delusional beliefs about myself, that I'm an important person sent by God. I remember in Langata, the rain came at some particular point, and I was telling people I'm the one who has sent the rain to yeah. So my mother and my brother didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So their only option was to organize for people to tie me up and forcefully take me to a psychiatric ward.
Yes.
So I was tied up, taken to a psychiatric ward, where I stayed for about 1 month. So in the psychiatric ward, you are taken to a strong room first, because you don't want to be there. So you are forcefully taken to a strong room where you stay until you calm down. The first step is you are given a powerful injection to immobilize you. So that's basically it. That one was before I joined university in the year 2002.
Yes.
Yes.
And is it something that is close to split personality?
In terms of a diagnosis, a split personality is something else.
Something different.
Yes, it's something different. But then when you're talking about bipolar, the hallmarks is the fluctuations in mood without a trigger.
Yeah.
But then at the moment you talk about a personality, you are talking about someone's way of interpreting the universe, or the beliefs that someone holds on certain things, on some particular things. Not necessarily mood fluctuations, but then you could be talking about different ways of getting things done, or different ways of handling situations and whatnot. Yes.
So is there a thin line between bipolar disorder and depression, and how can one or anyone who has a family member with such symptoms differentiate between depression and bipolar disorder?
Well, we experience everything that a depressed person experiences in bipolar, in the lower pole, as he has explained.
Yeah.
The only difference is we have two poles. Sometimes we are depressed, and sometimes we are manic or hypomania. So in a depressed person, there's no interval where he now shifts to happiness and elated mood. So it's difficult to diagnose sometimes bipolar, because when somebody comes with a depressive...
So hold that thought. Let's go for a break. We are coming back to continue with this conversation. Stay with us. Indeed, we are talking about dealing with bipolar disorder. This is Health Tuesday right here on Good Morning Kenya. Wakili, you are talking on a point, if you may continue.
Yes, so We experience everything in bipolar. When you're in the depressive state, we experience everything that a depressed person experiences. But now the difference between bipolar and depression is that a depressed person, a person who has been diagnosed suffering from depression, does not at any point shift to the higher pole of elated moods and happiness. He remains depressed. That's so there's a challenge in diagnosing the bipolar and depression, because somebody can be depressed, yet is battling bipolar. He has not told the psychiatrist of his higher pole. So he's diagnosed as battling depression, yet is battling bipolar. Yes.
How do you go about the diagnosis process?
The diagnostic process?
Yes.
What is raising is a very important point when it comes to differentiating what somebody could be suffering from, whether it is depression or whether it is bipolar. When we are talking about depression, in diagnostic terms, it's called major depressive disorder. For somebody to be diagnosed with that, he has to meet what I demonstrated when I was talking about the depressive side of bipolar. Then this person doesn't necessarily have to experience the manic episodes, because if this person experiences this, then we will be talking about cycling of moods. So when we talk about cycling of moods, we are talking about this person experiencing maybe something that is bipolar. Again, it's also important for us to notice that bipolar mood disorder in most cases doesn't have an external stimulus. Nothing triggers the nothing external triggers the manic episodes, and nothing external triggers the depressive episodes. In most cases, you would realize that in major depressive disorder, there could be some other psychosocial factors that could trigger major depressive disorder. So when somebody goes, checks into a mental health unit, or somebody books an appointment with a professional, you'd realize that there is a very rigorous process before a final diagnosis is finally reached. Yes.
Can someone live a normal life with it, Wakili?
Yes.
From your experience?
Well, you can only live a normal life after a journey. Remember, I've battled this condition for 25 years. Since the year 2000. When it was on the onset, it was impossible for me to live alone a normal life. It took me almost 8 years to understand what this condition is all about. Because at the beginning, I was psychotic. Because I was battling bipolar 1. I have hallucinations, I have delusions, I have paranoia. I think people are following me. I don't understand myself. Sometimes I'm happy, I have ideas, I'm composing music. Sometimes I'm depressed. Getting out of bed is an issue. And I couldn't operate. I joined university to study first economics and sociology. I failed in 16 units. Kuminasita in my first trial because of this condition. That's how terrible it was. And I had almost 6 relapses.
And at that point, you had not realized it was bipolar disorder?
I have already realized it. I've been diagnosed before even I joined campus in the year 2000. But now, learning how to operate with it took me a journey of almost 8 years. I knew what I was, there was a diagnosis, so I knew what was disturbing me. But now, trying to know which medication works for me, trying to keep up with the therapists. So it took me a journey so I failed in 16 units. I began to study law afresh in the year 2008. So between 2002 and 2006, I was in Nairobi University studying economics and sociology, failed in 16 units, began law again afresh in the year 2008. So it's a journey. You can't just learn to cope with it immediately after diagnosis.
Okumu, is there an age at which you can say it's easy to diagnose bipolar disorder? It only can be noticed with age?
When you're talking about that, we are talking about onset of symptoms that somebody can expressly say that this person has started to experience changes in moods, mostly in adolescence and early adulthood. That is the point that you can start to say that somebody experiences these changes in moods. So when you've ruled out anything, any external trigger, and then you look at whether there could be issues contributing to the changes in moods. Adolescents, where somebody is identifying themselves, somebody is getting to interact with the universe from a different perspective, going out there and meeting people, going to school, maybe starting to become responsible for themselves. Those are the moments that mostly the prevalence increases. Yes.
Now, what are the dangers of misdiagnosis, especially when it comes to bipolar disorder?
Yeah. Misdiagnosis can be very costly to the individual who is misdiagnosed, maybe to the professional who misdiagnoses, and then to the significant others of the individual. Now think of it as, because it could not be a one-sided coin, whereby you either point a finger to the professional, you point a finger to the victim, or you point a finger to maybe some other factors. There could be some other individuals who would fake symptoms. When somebody fakes a symptom, then it means getting to the point of diagnosing and addressing this person's issue becomes a big challenge, and then that would take us to something else. Maybe we are talking about a fictitious or maybe a malingering disorder or something like that. So when that happens, it would mean that maybe this person is not able to function normally because of this urge or this feeling of I have this symptom, so I'm not supposed to be doing this and that. You'd realize that there are a lot of people who would think of maybe when they feel low and at some point they feel happy because of the exposure and the information out here. Some people would start to say that I am bipolar. So people start to label themselves, people start to work with those tags of illnesses and things like that. Then they don't interact normally, they don't become as productive as they should be, they don't meet their responsibilities, there are things that they're supposed to do that they are not able to do because they have this tag that I have a mood issue or a mood disorder. So that can happen. At some point you'd realize that because of some other factors, maybe family dynamics, some history, some socioeconomic factors could also lead to a misdiagnosis. But then when somebody is misdiagnosed, you'd realize that there could be need for that person to be put on medication. When you're put on medication and you don't have a specific illness, the side effects are worse than when you are put on the medication for that particular illness.
Wakili, when it comes to treatment and managing a bipolar disorder, is there a way that lifestyle things like sleep, diet, and also stress management, how do they intertwine in the whole idea of managing bipolar disorder? As
people who battle the conditions, we usually call them triggers, because now when you have stress, it can trigger you to go to the depressive state, or when you have, it can trigger you to go to the manic state. So lifestyle changes plays a role. Like me, for example, I have a routine. It helps me because, as the psychologist said, there's a difference in sleep patterns. So me, I watch myself because I have to sleep for around 8 hours or 7 at a particular set time of the day, and I wake up at the particular set of the day. Because if I sleep less, it triggers me to be manic. And if I sleep more, it triggers me to depression. Then I go to the gym. Exercise is very crucial because now it gives it enables me to have the feel good hormones, so that I'm not in the depressive state. I have routines in terms specific time to shower, specific time to eat, and then I don't eat non-nutritious food because I know this is a disorder of the brain. If I inject the brain with food stuff that are not bringing in the chemicals that I need, then it can trigger.
So you have to stick to, let's say, if it's a diet, you have to stick to a specific type of a diet.
Yes.
Daktari, How does medication and therapy work in all this? How do they work together in treatment, medication and therapy?
Yeah, I talk about 2 phases of the condition. There is the acute phase, and then there is the maintenance phase. You'd realize that somebody is very manic, that they cannot be managed in terms of maybe talk therapy, or maybe you cannot be able to hold any meaningful conversation with that with that person. So you'd realize that this person would need hospitalization, and at some point medication is involved at that point for this person to calm down. So you'd realize that therapy or psychotherapy is not functional when somebody is manic. It can work when somebody is depressed, or somebody is in the depressed phase. So when somebody is put on medication, you'd realize that in cases of misdiagnosis, somebody can have depressive symptoms, and then somebody just says that, oh, this person could be suffering from depression, and then they are put on antidepressants. When somebody with bipolar mood disorder is put on antidepressant, then that would trigger mania. Yes, because it will elevate this person's mood. So you'd realize that medication and therapy are things that can be used in a controlled setting, whereby you're able to tell how much is this able to help and how much can this not help. Yes.
When it comes to treatment, there are options that fit bipolar 1 more than bipolar 2, or it's like a one-fits-all kind of a treatment?
No, it's not a one-size-fits-all. There are specific mood stabilizers. When you're talking about bipolar and its management in terms of medication, we are talking about a class of psychotropic medications called mood stabilizers. And we'd realize that when it comes to management of extremely manic cases, we'd be talking about things like lithium or some antipsychotic medications, especially the second generation antipsychotics that are also known for their impact on stabilizing mood. And then when you're talking about changes or low moods or depression or what you'd call that, you're talking about some other classes of mood stabilizers like lamotrigine. Think about maybe valproate, sodium valproate, and things like that. Yes.
Samuel, how does this affect family dynamics? Because there's a condition that maybe the family may not be aware at the moment you are having, but even when you are diagnosed and they realize this is what is happening, how does that affect family dynamics from your own experience?
Family dynamics in terms of?
In terms of how they handle now you going forward.
Well, immediate family, there's unconditional support. But extended family, I was labeled as a person who is infested with demons. So I couldn't visit my extended relatives. They completely cut me off. In fact, my mother was being advised by my relatives to take me to witch doctors, that I have demons. Niende nitolewe mapepo, because now my mother stood her ground. She's a Christian and she believes one day God will heal me. And luckily we didn't go to those witch doctors. So family, unconditional support from my mother and my brother, James Otieno Okeo, has really helped. But the others have completely stayed far away from me, even to date.
Yes.
Yes.
How should families approach this? Because there's something that probably many people are suffering out there, but the families do not really know how to handle it. How should they approach it?
Yeah, what Sam is raising is very important. Not a lot of people understand that mental illnesses are medical conditions. What people always run to is maybe demon possession. And what comes next? Let's get this person exorcised or something close to that. So the first thing for families to understand is to have this awareness that mental conditions are just illnesses like physical conditions. And then having the close connection with with professionals to have a professional opinion or maybe an expert opinion on what somebody is suffering. I think I'd say Samuel is one of the luckiest people because when he says he has battled this condition for 25 years, you look at the uptake of mental health in Kenya now, it is not where it is supposed to be. And then Samuel, who was diagnosed 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and then there has been that progression. I know there has been a struggle in gaining insight and maybe evolving in terms of medical management and things like that. There has been that. So the thing that families need to understand that it is not demon possession. It is an illness like any other. And there is management. In as much as there is no cure, they can be managed through lifestyle changes, like he is saying. They can be managed through medication adherence, checking in with your psychiatrist continuously, adhering to those therapeutic appointments and things like that, and having maybe a structured way of doing things.
Yes. How frequent should the therapy sessions be for a person who is dealing with bipolar disorder?
That depends on several factors. Depends on what a specific therapist thinks is right for that specific condition, because you'd realize that people experience symptoms differently.
Yes.
And then when you check in with a professional, they are able to advise maybe you need your sessions once a week, bi-weekly, once a month, something. There is no constant duration of time that you should take before the next therapy session or something like that. So frequency varies depending on the case and then depending on maybe some other socioeconomic factors.
You know, Samuel, the stigma that we are talking about just highlights how there is the need to deal with the stigma. It's prevalent. So from your perspective, when it comes especially to anything to do with mental health, how should we tackle it?
Well, people, at the onset, it was really tough for me. I lived a very miserable life and a lonely life at Nairobi University. Because my life was just sleeping in the hostels and maybe attending 1 or 2 lectures in a week because of the stigma. The students, some of them got wind of my condition, so I was labeled a mad person. When I do something that is maybe slightly weird, unasikia unaambua kwani dawa za wazimu zimeisha by students, and when you pass by the halls and the lectures, and when you're going to the lecture, unasikia unaambua hi cheesy, ni aje cheesy. And such things made me live a very isolated life. But the members of the public, you know, we are in the age of information. Surely, just take your phone and Google, what is bipolar? It will come. It's a chemical imbalance in the brain. Like it's a medical condition. It's not demons. It's not kuchizi. Because here I am. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Do you know how many people fail this course at the Kenya School of Law? And they give up. Even after 10 times of trying to pass the exam at the Kenya School of Law, people just give up. But here I am. I'm an advocate of the High Court, functioning well. I take my medication. I address the court well. I've won cases for my clients. So we can operate normally. This stigma, but when it was started, it was tough. But I went out proactively to look for people who support me. It is crucial for people battling bipolar or any depressive condition out there to have a support system.
How is it within the professional space? Now we are talking about your lawyer. Is there some level of professional stigma from your colleagues, given that they know you had this condition?
When I first came out at the year 2018, before then, people didn't know that I battle bipolar. Maybe I could operate weirdly, but they say,
that's normal.
But now when I disclosed that I'm battling bipolar in the year 2018, I came out because I wanted to help people who are hiding that this is a condition that you can live with and live a normal life. But it backfired. Anytime I have an argument with lawyers, because of your mental health, I will argue no further with you. You disclosed that you are battling bipolar.
Yes.
We don't want infestation of demons.
How did that make you feel?
It was terrible at first because now I was expecting support from people. But with time, I grew up to have support from the legal, my colleagues. I have even, like there's a judge in Kisumu called Justice Homido. He's a close friend. He even he talked to me that go and talk about it yesterday when I was coming to KBC. The president of the Law Society of Kenya, Faith Odhiambo, supports me, and whenever I have an issue, there's a time he recommended I attend a therapy session offered freely by advocates. I have support system like Young Okil Kamaloka Association, people like Patroba, people like Efi Sheila, people like so many support systems. And I took it as a proactive step to deliberately look for people who support and love me. And that has helped me to manage the condition.
Nice. Donald, are there conditions that may occur with the bipolar disorder?
Yes.
Talk about them.
There can be conditions that co-occur with bipolar disorder. And in most cases, you'd realize that for most mental illnesses, their symptoms will overlap. And you heard him talk about psychotic symptoms that he could experience. So what that could mean, we could be talking about just a mood congruent psychotic episode or psychotic symptom that somebody experiences probably when they are manic. There is a very thin line between like grandiosity in mania and grandiosity in terms of delusions. So there is the delusions of grandeur in what is expressly psychotic, and then there is the grandiosity now that comes with mania. So when we're talking about psychosis, we could be talking about ruling out for an illness called schizophrenia. But then when schizophrenia occurs with you experience the full-blown symptoms of schizophrenia, that is psychosis, hallucinations, and maybe that disordered way of interacting with the reality. Then again, the symptoms of bipolar, then we could be talking about a schizoaffective illness. So you realize that it is the severity of the symptoms that will help professionals distinguish what somebody is suffering from, the major symptoms, and then the accompanying symptoms that could be minor. What this helps with, it helps to tailor your treatment approach. Because you'd realize that somebody experiences these mood issues, but then they don't experience the psychotic episodes. You'd also realize that when somebody is manic, the symptoms that they experience or they portray would overlap with the symptoms of a condition called ADHD. Yes, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Somebody is all over the place. They are not able to sit still. They are very energetic, very talkative, very interactive, goal-directed, very motivated. They are all over the place. They very happy, extremely happy. In most cases, you'd realize that when not well managed, now the aspect of misdiagnosis comes in. Then at some point you could also realize that because of the stigma around a specific mental condition could make somebody start to experience similar to what we call anxiety. So anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder is something that is very closely related to bipolar that should also be ruled out when somebody is probably going through the diagnostic process.
When it comes to relapse, what are the signs to look out for?
Well, I think the biggest thing lies in your lifestyle. For a normal person, you'd realize that somebody could be carrying that gene for bipolar until it is triggered, just like Samuel was saying, until something triggers it or until something makes the symptoms show. Sleep is very crucial when it comes to managing bipolar. Whereby when somebody is always on the move, somebody is always doing something that your duration of sleep is less. The amount of time that you spend sleeping becomes minimal. That is a very big precursor for mania. When you sleep so much, when you sleep a lot, that is also a trigger for depression, like he was saying. So sleep, also observing what somebody does in terms of meals, what somebody takes in, who somebody interacts with, the kinds of people somebody keeps around them in terms of support or in terms of people who are going to stigmatize or victimize. Also exercise, also a very important thing. But when these things, when somebody breaks from this, especially after being diagnosed with this condition, you'd realize that there is a change or there's a shift in terms of how somebody relates. They start to become more isolated, or maybe they break from that routine of exercise, that routine of getting things done in a specific way. And then that could mean that this person is slowly moving back to where they came from. But then you'd realize that when somebody gains insight, you will get to understand that relapse and remission are two major signs or two major hallmarks of mental illnesses. It will go and come back. Remember I said that they can be managed but not cured. Yeah? So you'd realize that the symptoms can go for a duration of time. At some point, something again triggers you, because in as much as you've been diagnosed and everything is now clear to you, it doesn't mean that the external triggers will go away. The external triggers will come, but then once you've been able to understand and you've gotten to a point of knowing that this is how I'm managing it, this is the condition that I'm suffering from, then it calls for you to devise ways of handling these triggers as they come, now that you are interacting with this illness from a point of knowledge. Yes.
You said you did relapse, eh?
Yes.
Were you at some point noticing, like whatever Daktari has said, some of, say, habits that would just tell you, I'm going back to the state that I was in?
Yes, for bipolar is, me, I will describe it as an energy or sleep disorder. Like he's saying, when you have high energy, or when you sleep less, like 3 hours, 4 hours, you are in manic. You are in the higher pole of bipolar. When you oversleep, it shows. So those are some of the things. You know, me, I was now manic. I can't really tell, because when you're manic, you have lost touch with reality. It's only people who are outside who can tell you what you have been doing. But when you things like when I find myself talking a lot, being highly excited and being, I just see that this is mania coming, and I need to maybe rush to the psychiatrist or change medication or
So now you started Serene Minds organization.
Yes.
How has it helped you in your journey, and how are you reaching out to other people?
Serene Minds organization is a community-based organization. We are based in Umoja 2 Ward in Eastlands. So what we do is just advocacy in our community for mental wellness and taking care of people, people who, we have psychologists in our team, in a Serene Minds organization, led by our Vice Chair, Teresia. So we go on the lookout in our community for people who are battling mental disorders and try as much as possible to help them or connect them to psychiatrists or connect them to psychiatrists and psychologists, maybe like him, when they need psychotherapy. So that's we started in the year 2023, and our main activity is annual concerts. Like we have annual concerts where people come, we invite musicians, we invite comedians, and then there are psychologists who are there to talk to people, and we collaborate with other mental NGOs that they come with their tents and they offer free counseling at the venue. So our main activity is annual concerts, which we call Jikaze concerts. The next one will be on 7th September. At the Bomblas Memorial Park. The last one was attended by advocates of the High Court. Even the president of the Law Society of Kenya, Faith Odhiambo, was in attendance, plus other seniors advocates. We just come, we talk to each other, we interact, we are talked to by psychologists, we have a good time, we dance, we go.
Have you had cases where some of your colleagues, through now your efforts, come out and say, I have battled this condition?
Yes. No, yes, they do it privately. not everybody has the stamina to come out publicly to declare that you have bipolar because of what I experienced. They don't want to experience that stigma and backlash, and they didn't. But privately, many advocates have told me I battled the same. Keep up what you're doing. It's only that we can't come out, but we like what you're doing. You have given us hope. You are an inspiration. Yeah. So.
Doctor, how can we ensure that there is a good environment where people dealing with such condition, not only bipolar disorder, but other mental conditions, can come out freely without feeling judged, especially within the community?
Oh, I think my biggest call to everybody is that make yourself aware. Yeah? A stigma is close to ignorance. Yeah? So don't be ignorant that you see somebody suffering, or you see somebody going through something that you are not able to explain in your own terms, and then say that now I don't want any association with this person. Let's ensure that we are aware ourselves, and then let's ensure that we create safe environments for everybody. Because the biggest thing is that nobody is immune. In terms of mental illness, nobody is immune. It can anybody can suffer from any mental condition. Anybody can suffer from any illness, just like any other physical condition. So what we need to do is create a supportive environment whereby in cases that we are not able to help our friends, we hook them up with professionals. That's why we have professionals around. That's why we have support groups. That's why we have organizations like the one he's talking about. That's why we have mental health institutions. So let's ensure that we make use of the resources that we have around us, and then let's make sure that ourselves are supporting these people as opposed to victimizing or stigmatizing.
Just to add on that, in terms of ignorance, I'm a Christian, but the church, many churches or many religious leaders are completely clueless when it comes to mental health issues. Remember, I was a Christian, so you can imagine the number of people who prayed for me. There was a time I was surrounded by 7 pastors. They were trying to cast out demons. There was a time I was poured anointing oil. It was too much oil on me. Those are things I can remember. There was a time one pastor said that some witchcraft has been done on me from somebody in the village, that we should exorcise those demons. But who helped me? It was a psychiatrist who diagnosed, gave me medication to take, and I became stable. So when you go to a church and you have, for example, diabetes, you'll be told, man of God, just limit your sugar, or insulin, or when you have cancer, you are told, go for chemotherapy. They're even scared of praying for you. But when somebody walks to a church with mental illness, they say demons. Yet it's a medical condition, like he has said. It's not demons. So let's stop this ignorance. Just even your phone, you can just Google what is bipolar, what is schizophrenia.
Whose responsibility is it to create this awareness?
Now organizations like us, because people on their own initiative are a bit lazy in terms of, because somebody will be like, why should I Google about bipolar? I have matters that are troubling me. The government also should increase awareness, because I don't know, statistics is 1 out of 4 Kenyans. So this thing is catching up, and very soon it will be full-blown, the whole country. So the government should take up responsibility to create more awareness, support groups like Serene Minds that are out there on the ground.
Let's close with this, Daktari. How would you advise a family that has a person who is struggling with bipolar disorder?
Number one, I'd insist on awareness, and now let me bring it from a different perspective, building on what Sam has raised. when we are talking about the aspect of equipping ourselves with the knowledge, you'd realize that people have formed opinions about medication and how they help with mental illnesses, whereby you'd realize that most of the medications, and then in this case we're talking about the psychotropic medication, or the medications that are used to treat mental conditions, have side effects. So when a medication has a side effect, in as much as it is addressing what it is supposed to address, and then it has some other side effects, you'd realize that somebody picks that side effect and say that this medication is not actually helping. This medication is not helpful. It's only making the condition worse, or it is bringing about that other aspect of the illness that we had not seen. So it is important for families to be in a close consultation with healthcare providers to get to understand if maybe this person reacts to this person this way. He said a very important point, that at some point he has to go an extra mile to get to know, do I need to change medications, or should my dosages be adjusted in a specific way to maybe address my situation in the here and now. And then when it is adjusted, again it calls for his awareness or anybody else's awareness to understand that this medication is likely to have a side effect, because not many people will even appreciate the side effects of the common over-the-counter medications that we take, but people take them. You realize that you take paracetamol, what happens to you? Maybe you sleep a lot, or maybe something just happens to you, your lips become drier. At some point, somebody may experience constipation out of taking some antibacterial medications and things like that. But nobody talks about that because it is not a psychotropic medication. When it comes to understanding the side effects of this medication, people should be well aware. People should understand that these medications have side effects, in as much as the newer versions of the medications have less side effects because of the technological advances and what we can think of in terms of the new generations of the medications. So the biggest thing for families, get to understand and then get to support your family members without pointing fingers or without labeling them as not good enough, or maybe labeling them as not members of your family, or maybe people who are demon possessed, people who are not good enough and things like that. It can affect everybody. Offer support.
Yes. Wakili.
Yes.
What is your message?
My message to Kenyans is that let's stop stigma. It's easy. Nowadays we have smartphones. Google what is bipolar, and ukiona tu hapo this thing, it's a medical condition. It's not demons. And I would like my shout outs to people who support people living with conditions like mine, like our president of Law Society of Kenya, Faith Odhiambo, my friends like Patoba, Efi Sheila, my brother, my mother, who are out there on the lookout for people who are battling mental disorders. You have a special place in heaven for you. Just keep on checking on them. Keep on checking on your relatives who are battling mental disorders. It is not easy. You remember, this is a war that is in somebody's head, 24 hours. It is not easy. Let's check up on each other.
Indeed. Thank you so much for making time to come and talk about this issue of bipolar disorder, because information is very important, especially when it comes to helping in managing this condition. That is Dr. Donald Okumu, who is a psychologist, as well as Samuel Ochieng, who is an advocate of the High Court and founder of Serene Minds Organization, and also survivor of bipolar 1 disorder, speaking to us about this issue. This is where we end this conversation, and I hope you have learned a thing or two. Bipolar disorder is not madimony. Maybe this is where we end. And good morning, Kenya entirely. Thank you for tuning in. Keep it KBC Channel 1. Good morning.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
I've
only been married for a few years and already akona mtoto nje.
Sijui unataka niseme nini. It is called owning up to your mistake. And honestly, mbona tukuamka tuende?
In fact, pigie huyo mama Kim, mwambie utaki kazi. Nitatafuta msichana mwingine. Nafikiri hizo nyumba zingine hazina shida zao.
Take some time. Kwa sababu pende usipende, we need to talk.
Naitwa Calvin Sriaga Onyango. Natoka hapa North Kamagam. Hapa nyumbani tunashughulika na kilimo ya samaki. Na ndio imetuwezesha sana kuimarisha maisha yetu sana. Kwangu mimi kama kijana naipenda na iko roho kabisa. Na sioni kama nitaiacha hivi karibuni. Nitajaribu sana ili niendeleze, na kwa sababu ni kilimo yenye iko na faida sana. Kwa hizi vidimbwi tumefanya hii kazi ya samaki kwa zaidi ya miaka 8. A few years ago, we were introduced to ABDP. From that time, we have seen a lot of changes because we have been trained on how to do proper maintenance, proper feeding, proper pond management. So that one has been helping us a lot. And through fish farming, we have actually realized a lot of profits, and we have managed to do some other things. We have managed to put up a chicken farm. We have also been able to buy dairy cow from profits that we have realized from fish farming. The national government has really helped us very much. Even last time we were in Kakamega, me as a youth, we were in Kakamega launching a grant that has been issued by government, and the president himself sent the cabinet secretary for blue economy, alias Joho, and we were really encouraged for what happened that day. In fact, we are very happy, and we are seeing wonders in future on blue economy. Maji yetu, thamani yetu.
Kwa majina ni Cecilia Naserian. Mimi ni mkazi wa hapa Ngatu B. Mimi ni mkulima wa samaki, pia ni mkulima wa chakula vingine kama mahindi, maharagwe. Hii kazi ya ufugaji wa samaki ninafanya kwa sababu mzee ashughuliki naye. Mzee anataka zile ufugaji kubwa ya ng'ombe. Sasa akiona samaki, yeye anasema hiyo ni kazi ya wamama. Sasa mimi inanifaidi sana, ni bangi yangu. Yeye ashughuliki naye. Pesa hapa ninauza samaki, nasomesha watoto, niko na watoto wako shuleni. Pia inanisaidia mahitaji yangu ya ile tu ya kawaida ya binadamu. Samaki haina kazi mingi sana kama tuseme kama ng'ombe. Samaki ukishaipea chakula na uwekea maji safi, hautashinda hapo kwa kidimbwi ati kuchunga samaki. unaenda shughuli zingine zako kufanya kazi zingine. Sasa ina stress, ni biashara starehe. Hata saa hii ninaitwa tu mama samaki. Unasikia tu kwa umbali samaki. Nikisikia samaki tu napinduka, najua ni mimi ninaitwa. Sasa wanafurahia kwa sababu hata wengine tayari saa hii hawakuwa wanajua samaki. Walikuwa wanaona samaki kwa picha. Wanakuja kutembea huku kuona live. Mpaka saa hii tu wengine wanakula, wangu wanakula. Pia hata mimi sikuwa nakula. Kitambo nianze kufuga ndio nimeanza kuonja kidogo. Saa hii mimi ni mlafi kabisa ya samaki. Kwanza Wamasai hawakuwa kabisa wanadhubutu kusikia hii harufu, lakini saa hii hata kama anakula kwa sababu ni dawa, anafunga kidogo mapua ndio akule asisikie harufu, lakini inatibu mwili wake. Vile serikali saa hii inaangazia hii mambo ya samaki, huwa nimepelekwa matrainings mingi sana kwenda kusoma umuhimu wa samaki, jinsi ya kufuga, jinsi ya kutunza pond. Wamenielimisha kwanza, wamenisaidia na hizi liner, hata hizo fingerlings ndio walituletee, wametusaidia nazo. Wakatupatia hii ya kuzuia zile predators, hiyo net. Wametusaidia sana na tutanufaika hata zaidi. Maji yetu, dhamani yetu.
Ameanza vizuri. Sisi kama watu wa Homa Bay tumeona 2023 January rais alikuwa Homa Bay. Pale katika lake kulikuwa tu na dirty fish market, wamama wakifanya kazi kwa matope. Na wewe utafuta picha, utaona rais amesimama juu ya mawe kidogo hapo akiongea na kina mama pale kama wako ndani ya matope huko. A year later, because that was 2023, now 2024, now this is 2025, what you see as the beautiful fish market was only a dream then. So hii mambo ya kusema ati your promises or nini, I can tell you the difference between the promise and the delivery is only a factor of time. Ni wakati tu. So it's just patience kidogo kidogo. Hiyo wakati the transformation will be seen and will be visible, and in Homa Bay tunaiona inapendeza, tuko na furaha nayo, na si jambo moja, na si mbili, na si tatu, ni nyingi, na sisi tumefurahia. Na wananchi wa Homa Bay, na mimi nasema kwa niaba ya wananchi wa Homa Bay, na wacha niseme sisi hatukupigia Rais Ruto kura. Ilikuwa sijui ilikuwa 0.0%, 1%, hatukupiga. Lakini ile ambayo tumeona inaonyesha kiongozi ambaye anavuka mipaka ya kisiasa.
Ile nilitoka nayo hapa sio Apoyo, ni Oyeyo. Sasa mkiona Oyeyo kweli inatoshana na mimi kweli.
My name is Newton Owino. I'm the proprietor of Alisam Products Development and Design. Annually, fish filleting industries produce close to 150,000 metric tons of fish waste, of which 80% of this waste is actually fish skin. Our core business is actually to convert fish skin into leather. Thereafter, make a range of leather products like shoes, belts, jackets. We are not just using the fish skin, we are also using the fish eyes that we convert into earrings. We also use the fish bones that we convert into bracelets. We also use the collagen of fish, that is our glue, or what we call the shoe cement. This is what we use actually to assemble our shoes. We also use the fish scales, and these fish scales, we use them for making a very beautiful interior decoration products, like the flowers, but from the fish scales. For fish fibers, they are arranged on top of each other like this. So it becomes very easy to do what we call the buffing Then the fibers that is left, we do what is called the spinning, and already we have our doormat. In a nutshell, we have a lot that we can get from the fish, from either the lake or the ocean. It's not just the freshwater fish. If they are utilized properly, then I'm not sure whether this problem of job scarcity will still exist. Eat fish, wear fish. Maji yetu, thamani yetu.
Did you know that as a pension